We are going to have to act if we want to live in a different world.
Welcome to EdgeCast episode 16. I'm your host, Victor Von Zoom, and with me is Garam.
Do you know the way? Do you know the way, brother?
And Suede.
Hey.
It's been a while, so we're all...
And a new year.
Yeah, it's been a while, new year. It's been over a year since we started the podcast, as we did the anniversary cast last time, but we didn't really get much to go off of with that, just because much had happened, but much had been resolved at about the same time, so us weighing in was kind of irrelevant. This time, things are a little bit different.
This year's kicked off with quite the bang in terms of news.
Yeah. So, man,
at least Europe managed not to have any mass rape incidents.
Well,
housing cars.
Oh man, no mass rape incidents in 16 days.
Yeah, France. What they burnt? There were rioters. They burnt 1,000 cars in France. And that's crazy. Police officers. A video came out about this French policewoman getting beaten up by these guys, and just...
Yeah, and they probably didn't do anything about it, right?
Yeah,
I haven't seen any follow-up to it.
No, but it was just the media wanted to say, oh, look how much better things were this year. And it's you still have massive problems with law and order on New Year's Day, so...
Yeah, and then...
things are better, maybe?
Yeah, and the media... things might be better, we don't know yet. The media is still in full swing on everything they've done. We still have had the shenanigans with the Fire and Fury book, and then Trump being crazy because he put two hands on his water, because that's a sign of Parkinson's or something.
Yeah.
And then the whole shenanigans with him tweeting North Korea and everybody acting like, oh yeah, we're all going to get nuked.
You forgot the entire... In between all of this, we had the entire Gorilla Channel.
Yeah, I didn't actually hear about that. So,
that was... Do you want me to give you the quick rundown on this one?
Suede, have you heard anything about this either?
What, Trump having some kind of, They've been trying to say that he has a mental illness since basically not even after the election was over.
The media got trolled by this one so fucking hard. So... Somebody claimed in the Fire and Fury book there was a passage which talked about when Trump showed up in the White House. He was really angry because he thought there should be a Gorilla Channel on the TV. And he was like, where's my Gorilla Channel? And they're like, what the hell?
Fuck?
And it's it's Gorillas 24/7. It's Gorilla documentary. So they're like, okay, fine. We'll take a bunch of Gorilla documentaries. We'll cut them together. And then we'll broadcast the feed from a TV tower they built on the south lawn of the White House. And then Trump was all pissed off because the guerrillas weren't fighting, so they went back and they re-edited everything.
Why did they need to broadcast it from an antenna on the south lawn?
The fact that you've even gotten that far surprises me, because it just gets worse. Allegedly, he watches this for 17 hours a day.
Okay, this is from Fire and Fury, right?
Well, allegedly. And it very quickly got debunked that this was just... I'm sorry, I'm not sure you've looked at the White House recently, but nobody built a TV transmission tower on the south lawn.
Yeah, this sounds like something retarded that 4chan came up with. And 8chan told them that it was stupid and why are you doing this? And 4chan went through with it anyway because it's a bunch of normies pretending they're channers. So they They went through with it, and it still got picked up somehow because these people are morons. This is probably as Fire and Fury, as far as I've seen, is about as bad as when this happened around the same time. This happened 6 months ago with the fucking stupid ex-CIA agent who knew an ex-MI6 agent who had some contacts that were actually just shit posters on Pole. And they had they sold him the story about the golden showers and everything.
That was the I think the guy was Stone was his name or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, the British guy who allegedly put together this document, which turned out So he was paid off by a Fusion GPS, which was a media company, and they're kind of a bit of a murky organization because they've taken a lot of money from the Democrats, given a lot of money to the Democrats apparently, but they've also worked with a lot of Russian firms, oddly enough. So while the Democrats are peddling this entire Russia narrative, here's the Democrats paying this media company to pay off a MI5 guy, and oh, by the way, these are all people.
He wasn't even MI6, he was MI5.
Yeah, and by the way,
Christ.
all of these people have connections to Russians.
Yeah, well, we know all about that.
That's
something we talked about before. But as far as all right, so the two hands on water thing, I saw that, and that was just completely moronic.
It's a little weird, but to go from that to dementia is just completely fucking nuts. And now, just today, they had a military doctor did a test on Trump, and he came back and said, yeah, the guy passed the dementia test perfectly. He doesn't have dementia.
Why did they even order that?
They didn't order it. Trump requested it.
Oh, well.
I guess
I bet they said that the dude was paid off or something.
That's pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because we can't let a good narrative die, but
I don't know. Swade, what do you think about Bannon's involvement with Fire and Fury and everything? Like, do you think this is some kind of ploy, that this is like the thing about how Bannon left the White House to apparently go to war with Trump's enemies and everything, and then like now he's like super duper pissed?
Like, I think that's not even really like what's actually happening. Like, I know that's like the whole meme is like, oh no, he's just he has to be the Ronin that's secretly, still loyal or whatever. But no, I think he just actually left and he was trying to save face or something.
Yeah, and
and maybe they're still on good terms, and if so, that's fine, and they can still be friendly. But like, he's not receiving secret orders and like dead drops in the middle of the night or anything.
Yeah, I don't think anything like that was going on, but it's just like everything Bannon has been doing has been like subtly contradictory in some way or another, and Fire and Fury is just even weirder because the whole thing is like it doesn't make sense as a move he would make if he wasn't in some kind of like way supporting Trump, because otherwise he's like, I'm going to like push this book that is a complete pack of lies and fabrications. That is like just
lover.
Like, man, the Fred Savage theory. It's just a complete pack of lies and fabrications and everything, to the point where as some kind of information asymmetry shenanigans or just just straight up disinformation, because it's like everybody who thinks the book is telling true stories wants to believe that because Trump isn't issuing a cease and desist, this is obviously true. Or not because he's not suing for libel, he's issuing a cease and desist or something.
That is such a fucking trap, because the second he sues, it doesn't matter whether it's a justified lawsuit or not. The media is going to freak out about him silencing freedom of speech and the freedom of the press.
And
they can't do anything. They can say whatever the hell they want about him. They can lie to everyone's face, and the second he fights back, look at that, he's silencing the press.
Yeah, I mean, that was what happened when he moved everybody out of the West Wing and told them they were fake news to their face. Unbelievably stupid. And just, I don't know, because it's like, there's people that are like, oh, why hasn't he issued a lawsuit, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, obviously that means it's true, but it's like, all right, it's a book pressed out by Steve Bannon that was written by a guy who's who's known, like, what was the term, obliviator? Not obliviator, not obliviator. It was like a known obliviator where he just, functionally just blows up tiny kernels of what's going on and then fabricates an entire story around what's going around that. Like, he's like this known fabricator of information. and they're acting like this dude is like somehow some kind of like, you know, white knight that's riding forth with the truth.
I'd never heard of this guy before this entire incident, and I doubt I'll care about him after. He's just some nobody. I don't think he's exactly a nobody. He's like some dude that like Michael Wolff has been around a while, but he's always been a journalist. Like he's like, I'm a columnist and internet entrepreneur. Like he wrote the biography of Rupert Murdoch, or like one of the biographies of Rupert Murdoch, and like Wikipedia has already started erasing his past history. But like this guy's always kind of been like, you know, he writes about political drama in like he wrote about political drama in magazines for years. He's not exactly like a Chris Hedges tier moron, but like he's not exactly a trustworthy dude. Yeah, he's far from being a Frost.
And like and just the Fire and Fury thing has been, it's sold so goddamn much that
he's so fortune, which could just be his motivation to begin with, is just to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I mean, in which case, mission accomplished.
Though, like, political books are not exactly a good measurement of sales whenever they report anything about, like, popularity. I mean, that sounds weird, but alright, measuring the popularity of political books is not actually a good indication of how much money they make, because political books almost always have a large buyer that buys a certain amount of copies, so it always becomes a New York Times bestseller. Like, both Bill Maher and Ann Coulter have written, like, a lot of New York Times best-selling books that not a lot of people have actually bought. It's just they have benefactors that buy enough of them that they get on the New York Times bestseller list. Which is like why like the New York Times bestseller doesn't really mean anything anymore if you actually like know what's on that list. But I don't know, Sway, do you have any thoughts on this?
I honestly have been a bit out of the loop with regards to the book. I've only heard, you know, bits and pieces. I haven't even, you know, obviously I haven't read it. But just like the whole shit show around it, it just seems like one more cash in trying to, you know, never mind. No, move on. I don't have anything to talk about.
No, there's not much to talk about because nothing can get confirmed whether or not.
Like I don't know anything, and you guys, I guess, like know one or two things. So it's
kind of
man with half the facts and heated debate with man with zero facts.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
yeah. Well, Zero Facts should probably be the subtitle of the Fire and Fury. Zero Facts.
Yeah, like zero facts. Everything is just, fucking nothing is true. Everything is permitted. Fucking horse shit. But I don't know. Do we really want to talk about, like, what we're still talking about Trump? Do we want to talk about the stupid mine's bigger than yours thing with North Korea? Because, like, that was basically a non-story.
It was a non-story, but I'm...
Okay, I actually have an opinion on this.
Okay.
It was very unpresidential, and he really should not have done it. Not because, like, the North Korean nuclear arsenal isn't a fucking joke. Like, literally, it's a joke. But because there are so many people that believe it to not be a joke, that by making that comment, all he really did was drive them further away from him as far as, like, supporting him goes, and make them increasingly nervous. And a lot of those people are, you know, otherwise Trump voters, and they are rather scared of North Korea, like middle-aged, you know, mothers and so on. They don't want their children to get nuked. But they also voted for Trump for, you know, whatever reasons they have, I'm sure. And then he says shit like that. It's really not how a president should be behaving. Not only because it just doesn't really seem like the kind of dignified response that you expect, which is just, you know, more traditional than anything, but also just because of the effect it has on the people that voted for him and on the general public psychologically, to have someone in the highest position of power in the United States government just saying things not only of that nature, but phrasing them that way.
Speaking of phrasing, I'm not even fully sure Trump actually wrote that tweet. It doesn't quite sound like Trump.
I mean, we could debate that forever. I don't think that's like really an argument worth having. I mean, I understand like why you would note it, but still, like
it's just a knee-jerk hunch I had when I read it. It's like, this doesn't sound like his usual, like.
Yeah, it sounded kind of forced, or like, you know, like this was made by committee. But at the same time, like, he still should be, at the very least, looking over all the different tweets as they go out. You know, giving them some thought. They could at least be like, "Hey, we're going to tweet this for you," and then text it to him. He's like, "Oh, okay, sure."
Yeah. Although what I'm hoping, honestly, is like. I want to believe that he has some strategy. Like, I don't think it's like the 4D chess shit with him, but I do think that he does plan out some of the stuff he's doing. And I would like to believe that he is going to, that he's planning to, like, just continually do stuff on Twitter that, like, even if it's not, like, totally dumb, like, even we would think it's dumb, but I mean, like, stuff that, like, you know, the left would think is dumb, to the point where, like, I want to see Twitter try and ban him from Twitter. Just like I want to see them get angry enough that they ban him from Twitter, even if, like, you know, if they do it for just a second and then immediately realize how stupid a move that was, because like Twitter needs to die as a platform already. Because like Twitter and Facebook, I mean, we already complained about Google, but Twitter and Facebook, like, they have so much goddamn power over social discourse, and like the only thing. Yeah, and they abuse that constantly, and the only thing that's really keeping them in check is that, like, every time they start a push where, like, you know, this many guys on the alt-right and this many guys over there and this many guys here get removed and have to go to Gab or something, like, the rest of the fucking internet starts rumbling at them, and they, like, they slow it down. Like, it's like watching a man with Parkinson's try to, like, do the frog in the boiling pot of water trick. And like he tries to turn the dial a little, and it goes all the way, and then they're like, "Oh shit, the frog's moving," and they like turn it back down. But
well, at least we'll have people on Twitter like Bernie Sanders to point and laugh at.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard he's been doing some stupid stuff. What do you mean? You told me before he was shitting on JFK.
Well, he wasn't.
This is about equal pay, isn't it?
Yeah, so we tweeted out. So Iceland is now creating a government bureaucracy to audit the wages of all Iceland's employers.
Yeah, which is
to determine.
They're going to destroy their own. They're going to destroy their own country. Because have like
oh shit.
Like, Sway, do you know off the top of your head like how many people are in Iceland? Is it like only like 30,000 people or something?
It's like 160,000.
Yeah, it's like some really tiny number.
Let me Google this. 338,000 people.
Yeah, well, that's a lot more than I thought. But like, they don't have that many people. They got away with kicking out all of the like canceling all their debt and just like kicking out all of the you know, globalist banking apparatus from their country because they're so small that like nobody gives a shit. And like they were doing just fine. And it's like, yeah, they're still kind of like a kind of sort of Scandinavian country. They're one of the Nordic countries. They do this shit and it's like, okay, like
this is like Title IX on steroids.
Like feminism is already like fundamentally like broken down the building blocks of society. Like I don't want to get into an argument about like the family model or whatever, but like, you know, the thing is
you don't have to. You can just say it's pitted men and women against one another.
Yeah, which is bullshit because women can't do shit. Like women have power. Women have power in society when they have power over men. And if men don't have any power over their own, there's no point in women having power over them.
Okay, I was wrong. It's more like 32,000 or 320,000.
Yeah,
so
Garam,
like double my estimate.
Just looked it up.
338.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this. It's like, okay, you've basically created a Title IX Big Brother that's going to be investigating every employer that has a pay gap and it's just going to be constant. Can you imagine the paperwork, constant auditing, and then the government comes to you and is like, so apparently you're paying Sally less than Samuel over there, and now you've got to come over to our offices and fill out all of this paperwork to justify why Samuel is getting paid $5,000 a year.
Well, more than likely, it's going to be hopelessly corrupt immediately, and they're not going to be, like, whatever their justifications are, like, well, you see, Sally's my secretary, and Samuel builds air conditioners. Or, like, Samuel builds internal heaters for our country. Samuel works with lava. Sally works with paper. That bureaucracy, knowing that it's feminist in nature, is probably going to be hopelessly fucking corrupt, and they're going to just go, no, that's not acceptable. And
like their definition of value is going to be so divergent from what the market defines as value. Like, listen, the market, people don't get paid according to feminist ideology. They get paid according to what the market is willing to pay for that work. And those two are not compatible with one another.
I mean, I think that's a gross oversimplification of it, but I understand what you mean. Like,
well, I do have to like truncate it, but yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying, like, you sound really like ANCAP-ish when you just go the market, and it's like,
well, a lot of factors. Short podcast, but the point is, the reason why people get paid what they get paid, and the reason why the feminists think people should get paid what they get paid, are not compatible with one another, and this is going to turn into a giant he said, she said argument that goes absolutely fucking nowhere. And at the end of the day, they're going to have blown like a shit ton of money they could have put towards feeding the poor, or I don't know, saving the endangered seal.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they're clubbing them, but whatever. The point is,
yeah. Well, that's one of the big things with Iceland, isn't it? Like they want to pretend that they're they want to be so progressive and modern, and we're so Nordic and everything, and they're still killing leopard seals like everywhere.
The last, maybe we should move on to this, but it just the continuing trend.
What I hope is that they actually do go through with this, and then we have a fucking like we have a working model of why this kind of thing is like the destruction of societies, and as we watch Iceland collapse. Because what that'll mean, if they do go through with this and it is as hopelessly corrupt as like we can imagine, what's probably going to happen is that all of these business owners and all of these business people in that country are going to like move to Norway. They're gonna move to Norway or Germany and just leave, and then hope that like Norway and Germany don't do the same shit. Because or worse, they're going to. Like, local businesses will get totally fucked, and then they're going to leave this giant gap in their market for international corporations to come in. And then we're going to have, like, McIceland, and they'll just be hosed. But, like, you know, I know Iceland's going to, like, sink into the ocean in, like, 29 years, but they had paradise there, and they let their women destroy it. Or they're in the process of letting their women destroy it.
One country that I see trying to unfuck themselves after they had paradise and they fucked it up with, funny enough, Iran.
Well, Iran didn't... I wouldn't say Iran is exactly, like, totally to blame for their problems.
Well, no, but it's just, you see pictures of Iran before the Islamic Revolution.
Yeah, but the Islamic Revolution happened because the CIA is retarded.
And they were fighting a fucking dumbass proxy war with the Russians and blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Let's not get into that one. Let's talk about...
Yeah, it's like, look, I'm not saying I'm like, I know I'm gonna, we're already on like the fucking like alt-right hit list, and it's like, oh man, we're gonna get called cucks for any opinion we have that isn't literally Deus Vult, but we don't like the mass immigration thing. We don't like Muslim extremists, yada yada. But like pretending that Iran was that like everywhere in the Middle East is like this magical shithole that'll never be okay ever, and all the people who live there are complete pieces of shit from just by virtue of living there, is retarded. And pretending that like Western governments never had a hand in creating the mess that is there right now is
the British.
Yeah, like the British mostly.
Well,
the British.
The French were fucking saints. The French fucked.
Okay, the Saints, or not the Saints. The French yes, but more recently, the British, and specifically after World War II, the British.
Yes, after
with
World War
all
II.
the oil companies and the false flags by MI6 to get, the CIA and so on involved.
The entire shit show that the Suez Canal turned into.
Yeah,
Yes.
that annoys me. That annoys me to no end, because it's like the U.S. has the distinction of having like all this military power, but our intelligence apparatus is like garbage by and large.
Yeah.
And we know this because like Britain has like nothing left of its empire, but it's still a major military power, and it's probably one of the most powerful military powers on the world despite its small size, because MI6 is so fucking good at manipulating the CIA into getting the rest of the US to war footing is insane. Like the MI6 like might as well be like mediocre in every other regard as an intelligence agency.
They can just meme to get the US to use their military instead.
Yeah, like they're so
that's all they have to do.
They're so fucking good at it. Like, man, I wonder what Ian Fleming would think of like the modern MI6 and how they've operated. Like, I wonder if he would just be like, "You stupid bastards," or whatever. I don't know. But
back to the Delios, because this is for Iran definitely. The gravy train is over. So, unlike 10 years ago or 8 years ago, where they had the last big round of protests, previously there were. I remember there being specific name in terms of organizers, but this one just seems to be this. And there was a specific issue, specific leaders talking about a specific issue, which was the election being rigged. And this time it seems just to be this nebulous, the economy fucking sucks, so stop being losers.
Well, it's because, like, the way Iran is currently run is complete garbage. Like, Iran is basically a fascist state. In the really, like, core to fascism and how it actually operates sense of, they've managed to get by so far by being a war economy while they stayed on war footing with everyone around them, because
Obama sure as hell didn't help by just handing them fat stacks of cash.
Well, we've been doing that forever. Like, Obama was the worst of it, but like every other president we've had has been continually basically like helping them do proxy wars with Saudi Arabia. And like the Ayatollahs,
that makes you wonder.
The Ayatollahs there are all fucking morons, because they're theocratically they're like, it's part of a theocratic fucking circle jerk, where like they, like, I mean, you give you an example of like the kind of shit that goes on in Iran. Like, Iran is not actually as liberal as everybody says in the sense of like mindset, even though like their laws are fucking horrible. It's like an example of this is like there's tons and tons and tons of guys out in Iran, in like the rural areas of Iran that are like the farmers that are feeding the country and everything, that have like these dumb teenagers and old men and shit that are going blind left and right in Iran. Like, it's an epidemic of it. You know why? It's not fucking cataracts. It's because it's bunch of bootleggers and moonshiners, because they still want alcohol. Like, there's a ton of people, even that like they normally otherwise like not give a shit about the government in Iran, that like don't really have the same perspective on everything as like the hardcore Islamists that are in charge. And it's like, I'm not saying it would be really easy for Iran to become like a secular Islamic state again, or like just a secular state in general, but like the thing is that like without the money that they've been feeding them, and with how the rest of the region is being totally destabilized, they're probably going to fall into revolution pretty soon. Just because the Ayatollahs have been the Ayatollahs and the like all the I don't know. Swade, do you know like the what else do they have in their ranking structure other than the Ayatollahs? Not poobahs, but
I don't. You should probably get AJ here for that if you want to ask him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not.
Be a decent.
I didn't know AJ cared about Iran. But I assume AJ doesn't. AJ hates politics, so.
See, other than the Grand Ayatollah, my understanding is the next most important theocratic organization within Iran is called the Guardian Council, and their most powerful function is when the Grand Ayatollah died, they appoint a successor.
Yeah, it's like the Pope, but like
So Kind of like that, but in this case, that was one of the things that really triggered the protest last time, is that the quote-unquote moderates almost seized control of the Guardian Council.
Yeah.
So if the Grand Ayatollah dies, and the moderates, basically the hardliners need to appease the moderates. The moderates are never going to be able to get what they want at the end of the day, but it means they can put in a somewhat more moderate, weaker Ayatollah that would eventually fuck up and spark a revolution. But this all seems to be going nowhere, and I think a huge part of it is this is not Egypt 2.0. The media's reaction to this has been the exact opposite as what happened in
they are not
Egypt
talking about it at all.
And I'm just sitting there going, this is like the New York Times, notably on Twitter, basically sided with the ultra-conservative religious government. It just blew me out of my mind that they had done this. And I'm sitting back like, why the hell would they do this? I'm thinking to myself, one, Obama made nice with Iran, so they're protecting Obama's legacy by not showing this government for being the horribly abusive government it is. Trump hates them. Trump hates the government in Iran. So, of course, anything Trump hates must be good. Anything Trump thinks is good must be horrible.
Yeah.
The media's got their own issues. They're fucking god-smackingly pro-Islam. They're basically turning into like
we haven't really talked a lot on this channel, or really amongst ourselves, about like stuff like the Arab Spring. But it's like, I don't think, unless the media starts doing stuff like shutting off Twitter for Iran or whatever, I don't think that like the media not covering what's going on there is going to prevent any kind of protest and revolution or whatever. Because like the thing is that like Iran doesn't have any kind of pressure release valve for this. All they've been able to do is come down harder on them. And like I said, like a main reason why a lot of people don't like their leadership inside Iran, and also like, you know, diplomatically, is because their leadership, like I said, they're a bunch of fascists. They're a bunch of fucking dipshits. They are this pack of morons that got in through cronyism, and they don't actually know what they're doing. And they pretend that they're in charge through the merits of like their religiosity and like the economy that they built, that like the economy can only sustain itself by being on war footing. And like, you know, even with war footing, like, you know, war wariness and like just battle fatigue and everything for the country itself is going to set in after a time. Like Swade and I have talked about this before in regards to like other fascist countries and how, like, you know, none of them are actually built to last.
No, they're always transitional as the leaders seize power and use fascism to break up the power structures of anyone that would oppose them, and then desperately try and figure out an alternative to their current government.
Yeah, like the only
one, it all collapses.
Yeah, and the only one that existed for any like appreciable length of time was Franco's Spain, which like you could argue wasn't really even that much of a fascist government because, well, like, oh, he's a phalangist and everything, but also because like Franco had the support of the U.S. because he was fucking sick of commies, and like the Cold War was on. That's the main reason why. Like, the U.S., as we've talked about this with regards to South Korea before. The U.S. also kind of has a history of allowing like pseudo-fascistic countries to exist underneath their watch in the best interest of the U.S. against like enemies that are communists functionally. Like the same thing, like we said, like I just said, like we've talked about before with South Korea, where like South Korea, it's supposed to be a democratic republic and everything. It's a Western-styled country and everything, but they operate like a fascist surveillance state, and nobody calls them out on it because everybody acts like if they don't operate like a fascist surveillance state, North Korea will somehow win, and North Korea is a pack of insane commies, so we can't let that happen. And I'm not saying that jokingly, like, oh man, North Korea is like why don't we just give North Korea a chance? Like, yeah, fuck North Korea, but like also fuck South Korea for pioneering all of this surveillance state nonsense that we've seen cropping up everywhere else by, you know, having the excuse of, well, North Korea's right there, so we're justified in doing whatever we want to our people. we can totally use a pop star getting killed in a car accident while drunk driving as like we can totally say that her death was actually caused by internet activists and gamers, and now we need your social security number for you to, you know, browse the internet. Like, that was a thing that they did, if you don't remember, Garam.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but do continue.
Well, that was a thing that happened. Like, South Korea, like, this is just a side note, but South Korea requires now that you enter your social security. If you live in South Korea and you're a resident there, you're not like one of the U.S. citizens stationed on the army base there, you need to enter your social security. Like, VPNs are illegal, like federally illegal, and you need to enter your social security number in to use the internet, and the internet is constantly monitored and watched by by government agencies itself, like actively, not just like passively with DriftNet information gathering or anything.
The 5-cent censors.
Yeah, and the entire reason why
for everything they censor, they get paid like 5 cents American.
Yeah, and like shit like that, and it's just the entire reason why, like, there's an internet curfew and everything. The entire reason why that exists is because a pop star died in a drunk driving accident, and the government lied about it and had like their local media say that she was killed in like some terrorist attack from like, I forgot exactly what had happened, but they somehow tied it to video gamers and internet activists. And so like this is like to the equivalent thing of happening in like the United States or something. It would be like if Miley Cyrus like died of a drug overdose, and like Fox News and MSNBC both went on at the same time and said that Gamergate poisoned Miley Cyrus, so we need to ban video games. Like, that was essentially what the South Korean government did. And the entire rest of the world saw this happen and just was like, they're a sovereign country, they can do that shit, at least they're not North Korea.
Wait one moment, I thought you were talking about China, because that sounds like exactly something.
No, China doesn't even bother justifying themselves for that kind of shit. Like, China justifications are even more, like, paper thin. Like, if you've looked into any of the shit with the Falun Gong,
oh, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of Falun Gong where I grew up, and well, you see them doing their thing up there. I'm like, and this scared the Communist Party. Why?
It didn't. You realize the Communist Party didn't care about them until they could use them as a scapegoat.
Well, they were a scapegoat, but they were also growing. And a core tenet of Falun Gong is anti-materialism. Basically, instead of looking to become happy through buying shit, maybe you should like meditate and, you know yourself better to be a happier person. They're like, no, we're turning this into a fucking capitalist society. You all need to fucking die.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We should move on.
At least it could be worse. I mean, you could be living in Germany these days.
Yeah, you could be. I don't know how the fuck Merkel keeps getting away with the stupid shit she's doing. I know how. It's exactly as Apollo said, literally over a year ago now. Like, it's exactly as what Apollo said, where, you know, Merkel can just control the flow of cash via investors throughout the entirety of Europe. And like, if another state does something that she doesn't like, she can just destroy your economy overnight.
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, speaking of money, this entire story about this German propaganda film, which shows Europeans fleeing to North Africa from like Europe goes like Nazi, and like all the Europeans are like, oh no, we need to get out of here because everything's going to shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, just how much money in Europe and North America to get spent on fucking propaganda now is absolutely mind-boggling. Like Europe alone. Germany alone must spend billions of dollars on propaganda. And think about it, you got every other European country, and then you've got the United States, which is in a perpetual election cycle. So they're spending billions of dollars on it every year. I mean, every couple of years in the West, we probably spend $1 trillion, let's say, on propaganda.
Well, I mean, the Germans can do that because they're spending other people's money. Swade, back me up here.
Yeah, no, Germans get to do that because they have all the NATO bases that they don't have to pay for that will protect them if they ever have to deal with anything militarily. Like, the only thing they would need to fund their military for would be going to other countries, and they don't really care about that since they can just go to countries where the U.S. already has a presence, and corporations get write-offs on their taxes for bribe money they pay in other countries.
Yeah.
So, well, German corporations do anyways.
Yeah, that is a thing in German law. And
Yeah.
also, like I said, like Apollo had said, they have like Angela Merkel can just, tell German companies to stop investing in a given other country as part in Europe if she doesn't like one of their policies, and it like functionally destroys that country's economy overnight.
Yeah, or at the very least, like, the loss of faith would do it, even if, like, actually, like, the loss of investments wouldn't so much.
Yeah. And then, I don't know.
You still get some good quality. Like, I don't know. This kind of ties into the next story, because on the one side we've got the far left, which is spending untold fortunes on propaganda and having to beat everyone in line, and then you've got on our corner of the internet, like Ben Shapiro sitting down on Dave Rubin's show.
Yeah, well, can we just not talk about that, because that's literally like that wasn't a show. That was two leather chairs with like each had a piece of toast in the seat of each. Somebody poured milk on one and then poured milk on the other, and then one got like a bunch of makeup powdered on it, and the other one talks fast. Like, no one cares. Like, they're not important. They're not cool. They don't say anything fucking profound. They like, Ben Shapiro just goes a million miles an hour to get all of his like milquetoast conservative points in over everybody else before they're like allowed to make any kind of argument. And then just moves on from everything.
Have you seen him on TV? There's a reason why he talks a mile a minute.
No, I understand. I've seen him on TV.
For even a moment, you will be cut off, like I am cutting you off.
Yeah, right, I know, Garam, but like my point still remains. The two of us that's the problem. The two of us cutting each other off about fast-talking bullshit doesn't fucking construct anything. It doesn't create anything. It doesn't enlighten anybody. It's just Ben Shapiro saying shit that like, it's like considered edgy now because dumb liberals are dumb.
No, it wouldn't. Even 10 years ago, it would have been considered like, yeah, as you said, milquetoast, because it is milquetoast.
Yeah, and Dave Rubin is like the original edgy, enlightened alt centrist. Like,
well, I'd more call him more of a Larry King, but
he's not. Whatever. Like, can we just talk about the United Dipshits instead?
I would have gone with United Nincompoops, because at least that gets the initials correct.
Well, we got the fucking the scatological joke in either way. So just continue.
Let's just take a moment and laugh at the UN. Join me, Swade.
Laughing.
It would be so much more funny if it wasn't so goddamn sad that these people have power and influence.
Well, except we found out that they don't really, because Trump's like, hey, don't like the fact that
we'll pull UN funding. UN goes, but we won't be able to function. And it's like, yes, and? Like, why didn't he just pull... Listen? No, like, that's retarded. Like, that annoys me about it. Like, that's one of the things I have a problem with, is that, like, maybe it's because he's got, like, there's a whole bunch of other shit tied together. Maybe there's plans moving on. Like, I know there's probably is, like, a lot of other, like, moving parts that we can't see. But, like, the UN not functioning doesn't fucking make the world a worse place in any way.
I would have
the UN is the United Nations. It's intended to resolve disputes within countries. like collectively.
And instead, all it does is pick
yeah.
sides and allow genocide because corporations pay the money.
Well, it's not just that. It's like where there's like the majority interest of companies that have influence in, or countries that have influence in the UN decide their policy, rather than it being individual nations doing it one to one. It's basically just like a unified block of political and economic interests, where like
we're talking,
it is in our best interest for X country to be fucked up. It's a unified block
of a bunch of countries that mooch off of the United States.
Yeah, like it's that the entire reason why Woodrow Wilson didn't want to do the fucking League of Nations was because he was like, the U.S. will fucking have to do everything.
Well, okay,
and everybody called him crazy because that was before the insane industrialization of World War II. But he was still right.
Japan did the League of Nations. The League of Nations is like, stop invading people. Japan's like, or what? They're like,
what?
We'll send you a strongly worded letter. And the ambassador just shrugged, turned around, and walked out the door.
Yeah, but that was
the
like...
European nations were such a bunch of cucks they didn't want to do anything.
But see, like that sort of thing is the prelude to like stronger and stronger measures as you get more and more people involved.
Well, they're already invading your allies. I mean, you're already in a war state with Japan. You're like, we're going to send you a strong... You're past sending them a strongly worded letter.
Yeah, but then like the UN, anytime it intervenes in anything, like Interpol is functionally just like an international drug trafficking cartel now. Like at best, more than likely, it's just it's another toothless policing organization that's there for corruption. The Blue Helmets are a pack of rapists, as far as most people are concerned. And
as far as the people whose countries that they're actually in are concerned.
And when they're not having allegation thrown at them, have you seen their rules of engagement?
Yeah, they're ridiculous. Like the Rwandan genocide, we can obviously bring up because everybody knows about that. But there's hundreds of other incidents like that.
I believe it was the Congo recently. They were getting attacked. They were in a firefight, and the rules of engagement were very clear. You cannot shoot back. And the second the rebels figured it out, the United Nations isn't allowed to shoot back at them. Imagine sending military units into a war zone and saying, we're going to give you this rifle, we're going to give you all of these bullets, but you can't pull the trigger.
Yeah, and it like, they actively... they essentially created like a high-speed police force in the sense of like a modern corrupt police force where it's like, here's all this power, here's all this like free stuff. You can get away with like raping African women and shit. Like no one's ever going to prosecute you, but we need you to be martyrs in the event that we want to look good for this. That's basically the price they pay for that kind of power. And
they basically they wind up just standing on the sidelines while the raping and murdering happen.
Yeah, if they're not part of it themselves.
They ain't protecting jack shit. They're just there as photo op.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like they get to go in to die at best, and like the.
And why are we funding this?
I mean, like
if I was sitting in
the
Oval
Office,
they
still want to pretend like, oh, you're making the Israeli capital Jerusalem is oh man, like.
And this coming from the people who fucking created Israel to begin with.
Yeah, like, they want to, like, why the fuck are you people allowed to have an opinion on anything? These are, like, this is the organization that put Saudi Arabia at the head of the human rights violations. Like, look, I'm not a big fan of Israel either, but there's a goddamn reason why people, like, the people who are pro-Israel have a point when they say the UN is biased, because Israel is the only fucking country that has any allegations of war crimes and human rights violations leveled against them in the entire history of the UN. Every other goddamn country on that's on there, like Somalia doesn't, Iran doesn't, Pakistan doesn't, Saudi Arabia doesn't. Not even like there's not even like any like, you know, ones against France or Britain or the US or any of them. But like Israel has like 56 fucking like allegations of it. And it's like, yeah, this is obviously not a fucking bias situation. Like, oh man, Paul, you're right. The Jews control everything, even the UN, right? The Jews were behind the like Saudi Arabia being head of the fucking human rights
No, see, what it is the Muslims are just Jews in disguise.
Yeah, obviously.
Because they're brown.
That's
and,
the entire
Middle
MO of
Eastern
Mossad, obviously.
Yeah, the Muslims are Semitic, therefore Jews.
Yeah. Like
They're crypto Jews, as the Polacks would like to tell you.
Fucking stupid.
Wait! You're telling me they're the Crips?
Yes. No, shut up, Garen. Like this is a fucking organization that put Saudi Arabia to be the head of their human rights subcommittee, and then fucking like had a push to fucking give African women cell phones to combat internet bullying, and then let a fucking serial adulterer talk to them about women's rights. Like, it's fucking retarded.
And then people get all pissed off about Trump kicking out Haitians, Pakistan kicking out Afghan. Great work there, UN. You're bringing the world together. Everyone seems so happy being shoved together and then being constantly harassed because of your bullshit.
Yeah.
I swear to God, the world would be a happier place if we just got rid of the United Nations. Because all they ever do, that's what I was
saying earlier, motherfucker. Taking my points.
They're good points. They are mine now.
Yeah.
Ideas are free. But that was another one of the bullshit. Like, okay.
I don't know. Pakistan kicking out the Afghans was fine. El Salvadorians leaving is kind of shitty because I like El Salvador, but like, I mean, I can understand that. I can understand the thing with Israel. I don't understand why Trump had to kick out all the Haitians because they've kind of been shit on enough recently.
Yeah, because they had been there for a really long time. It was only ever meant to be. What was it? It's got to be about a decade at this point that they've been in the U.S. under this special protection.
Well, like, not just... I don't mean it like that. I mean, like, just... I thought it was, like, a lot of the Haitians that were being kicked out were, like, storm refugees and stuff. Because the shit with Haiti was fucking awful, because they had that horrible storm happen, and then all of the AIDS organizations that actually went in to fix anything was just the Clinton Foundation trying to fucking, like, harvest more child slaves.
Well, and there's a few allegations. I think they're just conspiracy theories about the Clinton Foundation running drugs and human trafficking.
No, that stuff's like, that's conspiracy theories in the same way that, like, JFK people saying
it's like
that people
Pizzagate level
like,
conspiracy theories.
Not exactly. Like Pizzagate, like, I don't know. Sway, do you have anything to say on that about like the Clinton Foundation doing shit in Haiti? Because they have a long history of shit like that happening.
I mean, yeah. I'm kind of a Pizzagate doubter, not in the sense of, like, I don't think shady shit's going on, but rather that I think they infer too much about, the presence of stuff that's easily circumstantial. They assume, firstly, their conclusions, and then afterwards, find evidence that supports them only if they assume those conclusions.
Yeah, I can understand that, but as far as...
But at the same time, like, it's been well known the Clinton Foundation is, like... just a corrupt money laundering scheme and staffed by basically criminals. It's been known for decades, going all the way back to when going all the way back to when Bill was in office, and even before that a little bit with the whole Clinton insurance fraud thing, way back when.
Yeah,
well, like this shit has been going on since forever.
So the FBI just reopened their investigation into Clinton's pay for play.
That's not gonna go anywhere.
That's not gonna go anywhere, and there's apparently an indictment that's been lodged for Uranium One. But it always blows my mind. The Clintons are just surrounded by corruption charges, and they always fucking walk away scot-free. I'm like, seriously, you cannot be surrounded by this much mud and then not get any of it on your.
I think what's going on is that the Trump and anyone who advised him this course of action is basically just firing shots across the bow. Like, I understand, like, I want her and everybody involved to be charged. I want them to fucking be locked in a barn and burned alive, to be honest with you. But, like...
Well, if the allegations can be proved, I mean, they basically deserve, like, 1,000 consecutive life sentences for what they've done.
Yeah, but the thing is that, like, it's probably never going to happen because there's just so many people that are so deeply connected that, like... If Trump ever actually issues that order, like some fucking CIA-based coup will happen. And then like the entire country will be in chaos. Like maybe something better will emerge because there's like they can't actually control the military. They've never been good at that. But like,
yeah, I mean, if the allegations regarding it's true regarding the entire Fast and Furious stuff. I mean, that wasn't just the Clintons.
Yeah,
that
probably
was
what's going to happen is
multiple
they're
government
going
organizations
to,
had to be
if it
involved.
doesn't just get dropped after a while and it's not just a shot across the bow / like a flare, like a warning flare for like, you know, the average citizen to look into this kind of thing and be like, wait a second, that's really fishy. They're probably going to have like a sacrificial lamb in the case of Eric Holden, where he'll probably finally go down.
Scapegoat.
Yeah. Well, he's also a fucking idiot. Like, Eric Holden is like, you know, a fucking scumfuck, and a lot of the stupid shit that he did. But, like, I don't know.
But she won't, because she's a star and she's got all her friends surrounding her. I mean, she's basically a golden turd.
What a wonderful dovetail, sir.
Yes, the Golden Globe. Speaking of other bullshit people who should probably be charged with all sorts of horrible things.
Yeah. Though, that shit is funny at this point, just because, like, the entire industry is totally collapsing under the weight of its own nepotism and stupid politics. Like, you can just see it from how they've handled everything to just all the recent movies and everything going on, where, like, if you actually look into the credits of all of these recent movies, like, unless it's a big-name director, it's always directed, written, produced, and something else. Like, I'm not going to be like, The Jews, like, we already know that. But, like, it's always directed, written, and produced by somebody who doesn't actually have any experience in the fucking field. Has barely ever done this before, and it's, like, probably some dude, it's like, oh, like we talked about this when me and Sway were talking about War Machine, where, like, War Machine was supposed to be a war movie and a satire, and it gets directed by some douchebag from Australia that fucking directed a TV show for like 2 years. And it was a TV show that was like a fucking, it was like a sitcom. So it's like, what exactly do you guys think you're doing with this? Like, that was the same shit with Dear White People, where, like, the dude who directed Dear White People got all this backing and all this push, and he directed a movie that was essentially, like, barely made it into the Cannes Film Festival, and it got all this push to be an actual, like, theatrical release for domestic audiences based on its content, when the dude who wrote it and directed it was this shithead who had, like, made, like, 4 short films and, like, and had, like, worked as politics. Yeah, and he'd worked at a TV show for a little bit. And now the fucking lead actress from that show, the lead actress from that movie, without anything else really on her plate, went from that movie to fucking Thor Ragnarok. Like, she went from a highly derisive fucking political satire that was shit out and forced through into a, like, major mainstream Hollywood blockbuster as, like, her actual career move. Like, that's, like, these are signs. Like, everybody wants to say, like, stuff like this has been going on forever. It wasn't this fucking obvious before. I don't know. Like, would you guys say I'm wrong on that?
No, it wasn't this obvious before, because in earlier times, like, it's generational. And that word is stupid, but it is generational. You had people where they were hiding it because of their predecessors who were either better than them at hiding it, or didn't do it at all. But then their predecessors retire, and now they're in power, and much more people know that they did these sort of things, so it's more acceptable. And then the people that come after them don't hide them quite as well, or don't even care to, just because they know that their own predecessors did it to some degree, so they're just continually pushing the envelope, seeing how much they can get away with.
Yeah.
Kind of makes you scared when you consider Roman Polanski.
Yeah, man, you wanted to... We were talking about Clinton. We're talking about Clinton
sorry,
and her cronies getting away with shit, but Roman Polanski, like, holy shit.
Like, he was literally having sex with he's a pedophile, and he had sex with an underage girl. And this should have been our warning. Like the conservatives were trying to say, like, something fucked up's going on in Hollywood when you're defending someone who was literally having sex with a child, legally speaking, that should have been the warning. And now it's like all these fucking allegations are coming out, and I'm just like,
well, it's just the media had way too much power before the internet was why that happened, because the Hollywood blacklist was real. McCarthy was right about everything, or was right about all the names he actually named.
well,
And like both of those things got swept under the rug for like 40 years.
McCarthy was right, but for all the wrong reasons. It felt
Well,
like
maybe in his main allegations, but all the names he named were totally correct. And like McCarthy being right was so fucking scary, because there were other people in Hollywood that were Hollywood liberals that like came out later on and said, yeah, these guys are like straight up commies and they are fucking scary. Like there were other liberal actors that were like, these guys are way too fucking communist.
Yeah, like Yuri Bezmenov, him talking about how the KGB, gets in there, compiles the lists, manipulates people. And then you look at Hollywood, and it's the same culture that Yuri Bezmenov was talking about, whether that's by design or not. But you put Yuri Bezmenov together with McCarthy, and you get a very scary picture about what may have happened in Hollywood. It's hard to tell, because I think with Hollywood, this is where I disagree with McCarthy, is I think a lot of them were, they were useful idiots. They had no idea they were being manipulated into doing commie shit, but they were, because they didn't understand what they were doing. But, the people manipulating them were fucking puppet master. And now we've kind of got several decades later, and you've got this culture of puppet mastery and sex being on the table in terms of, the sexual revolution, basically saying you can't be sexual outside of marriage. That also puts it on the social negotiation table. Whereas in the conservative circles...
Which is what happened with the majority of what was going on with Hollywood. Is like, because I'm not saying that a lot of these people weren't creeps and everything, but it's like, Weinstein... I'm not saying, like, Weinstein did nothing wrong, but I'm like...
Weinstein just fucking looks like a creep. Like, the man doesn't even know how to fucking
Well,
shave.
Weinstein's also like alright, if we take out, like, who Weinstein is, and we just look at what he's done that's, like, not just allegations, like, the actual stuff that he's done in his body of work as a producer and everything, he's a piece of shit. Because he and his brother have, like, destroyed so many different art projects, and, like, he and his brother are these pair of morons that have, like, systematically ruined tons and tons and tons of different, like, pieces of cinema that came out of Hollywood. Like, I don't mean, like, this was a blockbuster, it's a film, I'm gonna call it cinema, I'm a Luddite. Or, no, I'm not a Luddite, I'm a dumb faggot. But, like, I mean, like, they actually had, like, high art, revolutionary films, wonderful stories and stuff that's, like, could have surpassed all the bullshit of Hollywood. It's like, if you get past the politics, like, this is something genuinely entertaining and speaks to me as a person or whoever you are. And they have nixed those projects because, it won't make money. And, like, it didn't, and, like, they were totally wrong, and they end up being cult hits. Or they ended up being sleeper hits. And then, like, even though there were sleeper hits and everything, they just go, whatever, and, like, dismantle the fucking studio that made the project in the first place. And then keep the rights and everything. Like, they have consistently had a whole career where they have gotten away with making a lot of money off of, like, shitty blockbusters that sold well on a single year. And then having cult classics that they made sure never got a sequel forever. Because, it's just it's just business. And then when you tack in, like, how much power that they have in the industry, where they have been, like, skirting that edge and gotten away with it forever, like, you can't tell me that all of these actresses, like, every single one of them was sexually assaulted and couldn't leave the room and didn't want to say anything because they had too much power. So it's like, you have to know that, like some of them had to have fucking, like, voluntarily done this and are just regretting the decision. I mean, you're Canadian. Oh. We've already done the whole, like, especially in Canadian, at Canadian universities, we already have, like you said, the sexual revolution made out of marriage sex acceptable. Well, like, modern, like, third wave feminism has tried to make retroactive consent socially acceptable. And that's essentially, like, what's at least a minority of the cases with what's going on in Hollywood right now with all of the sexual assault allegations and everything. A minority of these cases have to just be a case of retroactive consent because it's in vogue to do it, and nobody's going to nobody's going to question them.
And it gets pretty awkward when it turns out, so yeah, you say you got raped by the guy, but you also got paid $100,000 to be in that film.
Yeah, like, it's stupid shit like that, where it's like, it's very obvious that, like, you could argue that that's hush money and yada, or guilt money or whatever, but it's like, you can't say every single one of these cases is it. And then it's like, if you ever get them to admit that, you can tell how it's all bullshit, because then they'll all rally together and pick out the people that they don't like, that aren't in their in circle, and say, oh yeah, well that one was a whore. It's retarded, like, backroom female politics. Where it's the women in a cave
politics, shit. Oprah.
Yeah,
that one hurt.
I don't know. I don't think
Oprah's not going to be president.
Oprah's not even going to run. She's just
hope so.
She might try to get the nomination, but she will not.
It would be stupid. I mean, come on. She runs... Okay, everyone loves Oprah. She runs as a politician. Half the country by default will hate her.
Stupid people love Oprah. Like...
Okay, but you know what I mean. Like, she's gonna lose... She'd be sitting there going, I might not win, and I'd alienate a huge swath of my audience. So, and then I'd have to be president of the United States of America. And do you think that's a fun job? No, it's not a fun job. What have I gained? Nothing. What have I lost? Tons of money.
Yeah.
And actually having a job I enjoy. Yeah. So I'm going to continue to be...
But everybody's acting like she can do it because Trump used to be on a TV show that he didn't give a shit about. Like, oh man, he's like the stupid showbiz president shit and everything. It's like Trump's TV show existed entirely because he had too much money for producers to not go, all right, fine. Like,
yeah.
And then, like, just speaking of just the Hollywood and show business and everything else, the Aziz Ansari shit is retarded. I don't know why anyone gives a fuck.
Speaking of just culling people you don't like, what the hell did he do to deserve that? It reeks of exactly what you said. He must have done something to piss somebody off, and next thing you know, rape allegation. And the rape allegation is laid out in an article. I read the article. At no point did he violate consent. She went yes and did everything he asked.
Well, like, here's the thing that he did wrong. And also, of course, like, CNN wants to fucking shitpost about it. Like, of course CNN wants to shitpost about it. And, like, when they shitpost about it, the fucking tweets they're going to quote are Jessica fucking Valenti. Like, oh yeah, these are really, like, hard-hitting opinions with real facts and a lot of like, real gump to them. Who gives a shit? Like, you know what Aziz Ansari did wrong? He tried to be an actual comedian as opposed to a fucking Hollywood shill. Because Aziz, I'm sure, understood that the reason why he got as popular as he did and as far as he did in show business when he was coming up was because it was during the fucking George Bush, it was during, like, the height of George Bush, of W, where America wanted to have all these fucking, like, all of these, like, Middle Eastern and Indian and, like, Far Eastern comedians and people in show business to be like, show how progressive they were and act like, you know, well, these are all Americans too. This is not a racial thing because, you know, people were acting like the war in Iraq was like the fucking 8th Crusade. And it was retarded. Like, Aziz, the mistake he made was that he fucking, like, you know, wanted to actually be a comedian and wanted to fucking, like, you know, not, like, kowtow to everything that the rest of the establishment wanted him to do. And the establishment threw him under the bus. You see this with every single fucking person that ever, like, goes against, like, if they get thrown under the bus by the rest of like, the machine there, it's either because, like, they have done something so unbelievably toxic that it can't be controlled, like in the case of of Weinstein because he was just too high powered to get kicked out that easily. Or it's like somebody like Charlie Sheen, where it's like, you know, he did a whole bunch of fucked up shit on the side forever, but, like, everybody knew about it and nobody cared until he stood up to the industry and said, fuck you.
And like, look what happened to him.
Yeah.
He got thrown in the fucking gulag. I wrote this down. Dear everyone, we fucking told you these bitches are Stalinists. They are hyper-authoritarian. They want what they want, and they don't care who they have to step on to get it. Yeah. We warned you. We've been warning you guys for a while. Nobody wanted to listen to us. Oh, those crazy people on the internet. They're just, it's all a bunch of whataboutery. Well, excuse me. I think you owe us a bit of an apology here. And it really boils down to, we were the ones who were getting targeted by this before you guys. Now you're the ones also being targeted by this nonsense. How do you think we've been feeling for a while now?
I don't think they care how we feel, because the majority of them are always going to be hopelessly retarded normies that don't fucking read anything, or they're going to be selfish morons that deserve this,
or they'll be delusional and they'll pretend that these people, like, come on, if they can screw over anyone they want, you don't think they're going to try and screw over you? Come on, man. If they can screw you over and get what they want, they'll screw you over and you get what you want. And if you lie down and hope that they pass you over, man, you deserve what's coming.
Yeah.
So you can either... I wish a lot of normal people would just realize that the shit's coming, and you need to, at the very least, I'm not asking for much, but at least say it's like, hey guys, that's unacceptable behavior. It's not a very high bar. That's all people really need to do. And it'll shut these people down pretty quickly, because once everyone looks around and realizes, I'm pretty sure most of the population is not okay with this type of a witch hunt. And once people realize there's a lot of people who aren't okay with it, the entire witch hunters, they lose all their power.
Yeah. But, they still control all the circuses, so...
Well, they still control YouTube.
Yeah.
And they still control Twitter. They still control Facebook.
Yeah.
So, as much as people might raise their voices, they're still doing a pretty effective job of marginalizing those people.
Yeah, so instead of people going, why is Fire and Fury full of shit? Why is Aziz Ansari getting thrown under the bus? Why are the Golden... there's plenty of people complaining about the Golden Globes. That was pretty funny. Why... nobody... why are we... instead of talking about the fucking... talking about... the FBI going after Clinton, people, everybody on YouTube is suddenly like, oh, Logan Paul, oh, Zoie Quinn's back, oh, the Sargon and Richard Spencer debate. We need to talk
Zoie
about...
Quinn puts a smile on my face.
We need to talk about Ugandan Knuckles. Oh, man, that fucking stupid fucking bullshit. And
most of those people don't even know where Uganda is on a map.
Yeah.
It's in Africa, right? That means they're not white, so they don't have good genes.
I thought it was South America.
Mm.
No, wait, that's Uruguay.
Shit.
Okay, you're talking... What the hell's up with this Coach Red Pill shit?
Okay. This is something we didn't really cover last time, and also me and Suede have had an issue with that fucking douchebag for a while. If Edgy listens to the... Not Edgy, Braving Ruin. I'm sorry. I referred to him as his past pseudonym. I am upset. But... if Braving Ruin listens to this, I want him to know that, I took his recommendation for Coach Red Pill, and I did genuinely watch his videos in good faith. I liked some of his content for a while, and then he started doing shit like talking about economics, and, telling people when to masturbate, and then fucking picking a fight with Sargon over shit he didn't understand.
So masturbating in the...
just
middle of the street's a bad idea?
Yes, Garam. Masturbating in the middle of the street is a bad idea. For fuck's sake. So Coach Red Pill is a fucking tool. He is the picture, a picture of him should be in Urban Dictionary when you look up the term yuppie cocksucker. Suede, you wanna fucking take this away?
You can start, and then I'll jump in.
Okay, so like, he came onto YouTube under the guise of being, like, the older man providing, like, wise counsel and shit to, like, all the young millennials that don't have real father figures and yada yada. Like, he's trying to fill a niche. And, like, I can get that, but it was, like, just way too smooth. And so much of it was obvious, like, so much of it, like, seemed like a marketing tactic, because he's, like, a whole, like, well, I'm calling myself Coach Red Pill and everything. I know it's a really, really dumb, childish name, but then, like, other than, like, him calling it, like, trying to, like, pretend to be self-aware and call it childish, it's still really fucking, it's still really goddamn, like, it's still really goddamn stupid. And he takes it, he's still, like, the context that he puts everything in. The context that he talks about it when he talks about himself or the name or anything, other than literally when he's calling out the name as dumb and childish, just for the sake of paying lip service to the idea. It's all just taking it way too seriously. And I know that's coming from a douchebag named Victor Von Zoom on a fucking podcast called the EdgeCast. But I don't care. The entire point of this is, the entire point of what we've been doing is just because this is ridiculous. This shit is all ridiculous. It's the internet. Grow up. This is like, you have to fucking admit that reality, at some point, you have to be an adult and go, reality is stranger than fiction. People like silly things. Names can be cool. Fucking comic books and video games and, like, just basic fucking, like, out there concepts in literature have some goddamn resonance in the human psyche. And he's another one of these fucking douche canoes on the internet that wants to fucking pretend that, like, because he's being self-aware about his own immaturity and then calling everything that he disapproves of as immature, it's somehow fucking, like, it's okay for him to say and do stupid shit when it's like, everybody thinks he's got these high production values and everything else, and it's like, no, you're a con man with a ton of cameras. You just have, like, 30 camera angles and it makes you look better. You don't actually, like, put that much work into any of your videos. Like, maybe I don't put that much work into this, but this is a podcast. I have to fucking collaborate with all these different voices that we don't even have, like, multiple different recordings for. It's not really comparable, and maybe I'm being too preemptive with, like, guarding for these criticisms. But my point still remains. The dude, like, he was way too fucking slick. He was way too goddamn, like, smarmy and snake-like for me after the first few videos. And then he started doing shit like, telling, like, he would do videos on, like, the advice on, like, when was the best time to masturbate, and, like, 50 million videos on how, like, you can get away with dating a gold digger if you fucking know how. And then breaks into politics, and he did a video where he talked about economics that was basically him fucking reading a Wikipedia article the entire time. And it was
Austrian economics specifically, and I listened to it, and I was like, this guy read the Wikipedia article on it almost word for word for a lot of, like, specific sentences.
Despite the fact that professionally he was an economist.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, all of this...
maybe other people said it better, I don't know.
Yeah, like, the shit that was just ridiculous was, like, all this, like, he's gotten away with it, is my problem. Like, the fact that, like, nobody fucking noticed that this dude was basically a con man, the fact that he schmooed his way into a whole bunch of streams with people, that he's, like, hobnobbing with all of these, like, alt-right and, like, alt-media and, like, skeptic community figures on streams all the time, and with a whole different persona than he actually has when he does his video rants. And then, like, he decides to pick a fight with Sargon, and you know what? Fuck Sargon. But the stuff that he decides to pick a fight with him on was retarded. Not because not even because he wasn't, like, there was a kernel of truth in a lot of his arguments about Sargon. But the problem is, like, he was trying to pander to an audience that already had preconceived notions of why Sargon was wrong, instead of explaining why he's actually wrong about shit. And then fucking did nothing but, like, tried to smear him. And then engaged him in arenas that Sargon had already fucking had the high ground in. Like, that was the problem. It was like, this dude's supposed to be some kind of, like, you know, political tactician and a former economist, and he knows his shit, and he's older than you, and he's had kids, and let me tell you what life's gonna be like after you make your first million and all this other shit, and, like, try to be, like, so full of wisdom and advice, and the motherfucker, like, walks straight into all of the areas where Sargon already has minefields. Like, it just retarded. Just absolutely moronic, and then doesn't get called out on being absolutely moronic. Everybody acts like, oh, he's just that dear old dad, like, fucking, like, does the fucking, like, Archie Bunker bullshit with him. And, like, just with the whole Sargon thing, like, that was so weird because that tied back to Kraut.
Wait, was that before or after the Spencer debate?
This was before the Spencer debate. The thing that happened, I haven't seen him since, like, really, I haven't bothered to fucking keep up with him since the thing with Sargon went down. Essentially what it went down with Sargon was this clusterfuck where Sargon may or may not have, it's not confirmed because he could have just taken the link, but he probably did actually take the info. Sargon took this intel that Kraut had dug up on Coach Red Pill when Kraut was still doing his fucking bullshit digging on his server, and made a video about it as a counterattack because Coach Red Pill made this massive fucking attack video on Sargon where he called him, like, a cuckolded fat tubby little bitch. End quote. And, like, so
wow, real mature.
Like, so Sargon fucking did this counterattack video where he used the intel that Kraut dug up. Like, it is verifiably the stuff that Kraut dug up. We don't know if it was because he took information directly from Kraut or because he just also happened to stumble upon, like, the link of where it was dumped. But, like, either way, he had the intel, and it was like, yeah, Coach Red Pill's, like, the dude is actually, like, this Chilean con artist that was, like, got with an he was an economist from, he was an economist that got with an economics professor to do, like, online tutoring courses or something, and then started stealing, like, all of the subscribers', like, credit card information. Like, I'm probably not remembering any of this correctly. But, like, that's essentially the gist of it as far as I know. And I'll find the citations later to put to the video when we put this up. But, like, essentially, like, he was, like, the gist of it was that it was a dude pretending to be something he wasn't to steal credit card information from college students. And then, like, jumped off social media for, like, 4 or 5 years, like, 2 to 5 years or something following that, because he had made a whole ton of money by stealing all of these other people's money. And then he pops back up in England. And he's, like, doing this Coach Red Pill shit. And, like, Sargon and him had met on happenstance in real life. And fucking Coach Red Pill decided to shit on him. And then Sargon revealed that he and the two of them had been privately messaging one another all the time. And like, Coach Red Pill was, like, openly saying, like, oh yeah, man, like, you know, I play all sides against the middle. I don't know why you don't. Like, acting like he and Sargon are buddies in, like, some grandiose political operation. And, like, he just kept trying.
Fucking LARPing.
Yeah, it was retarded. Like, Sargon did a video and showed all the Skype logs of it. And fucking, like, Sargon did not take...
Absolutely fucking LARP.
Like, Sargon did not take any of his fucking bait at all. And so we're back to fucking square one, and yet for some reason, like, you know, everybody else that knows the dude, all these other people that, like, are still on streams of Coach Red Pill or everything, is like, think he's, like, some charming older man. They aren't going, yeah, fuck off, dude. Sargon called him a confidence trickster. They don't fucking realize that he is basically, he was right. The dude is a confidence man. They don't realize that, like, or maybe they do, and they just don't care because they think it's part of the culture war or some shit. I don't fucking know. But, like, I hate this man. And I don't understand why he still has, like, the influence on and subscriber count. Like, why the fuck people still take him seriously?
Because people are fucking desperate.
I don't know, Swade. You wanna...
That's literally the only thing I can think of. They're desperate.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that they're desperate, it's that he has that very shallow charm and like the air of authority without really, deserving it.
Because he's older.
And has a British accent.
No, we're not talking about Sargon. We're talking about
we're talking about
Coach Red Pill.
Because he's older and he presents himself as a professional, and his views are just mainstream enough within the the alt-right community and then poll and everything else to have mass appeal within like that within that sub-region of the political axes, such that like he hits all the right notes to have like a general just consensus that this guy knows what he's talking about. And look, he's wearing a suit. He looks like he's like a middle-aged businessman. He talks like it too, even though if you ask me, he seems like a used car salesman.
Yeah, like that's
that was just always my impression of him.
That's the impression I got when he got into his smarmier videos.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I expected him to at least, wear a t-shirt or some shit after a while. I was like, no, he is constantly in a fucking sports blazer and, a goddamn, button shirt and everything. And it's like, all right, I know, it's like, I know lawyers, I know doctors, I know businessmen, I know economists, I know professionals in field. I know, and it's like, the only person that dresses like that all the time? Shitty middle managers that want to fucking pretend they're more than they are.
Shysters. And, but he's inoffensive to everyone who has opinions within a certain number of degrees of distance from him. And he's very firmly, and I think deliberately centered himself in the area of greatest density of stupid Pollock memes and opinions. He's not too out there, and he's not too close to center.
He's 4chan Pollock.
Right.
He's 4chan Pollock memes.
The most mass appeal.
He's just a little too edgy for Reddit, the Donald or whatever.
Yeah,
but
just a little bit too much. But he would go further to the left if he thought that he would gain more followers by encompassing that group as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was what was going on with Sargon, where it's like if he thought he could get in Sargon's good graces, he probably would start shitting on them. And
he isn't about, and I don't think he really has very strong opinions on any of the things he's actually talking about. He's just talking about them for the sake of audience and
the only thing I thought
views.
He was really ever going to be right on was what he was talking about way back in VidCon, where he thought Sargon and the rest of the skeptics were going to sell out to MTV, and he was at best half right about that. As much as I wanted him to really be right about that, and I think there's probably an archived YouTube comment somewhere of ours that we can bring up and just be like, "Haha, Zoom, you fucking moron." But you know what? Yeah. Whatever. Haha, I'm a fucking moron. You win. Random alt-right commenter.
I mean, you're gonna shit on our fucking channel with, what do we have? 4 subscribers that aren't us now?
15, man. We're getting there. But
holy shit, we have 15 subscribers.
Yeah, and 10 of them are my sock puppets.
Oh.
And 2 of them are my fans from the Warhammer Lore channel that are just hey, whatever.
Subscribe. I keep forgetting.
Yeah. No, whatever.
When even one of the hosts won't subscribe to the channel he's a host on.
Yeah, I don't know. All of this recent drama is a fucking clusterfuck.
Yeah.
And Karam, I know you wanted to talk. I know you wanted me to shit on Logan Paul or something. I don't give a shit. I can't. I'm constipated. All right.
But come on.
No.
He's so fucking hateable.
That's the problem.
Literally everything about this.
Yeah, that's the fucking problem. He is there to hate. He's a fucking red herring. Why do we give a shit?
Because some people like him.
No,
we care because some people like him and they don't realize.
But
that
he doesn't have any.
Hated.
He doesn't have any political opinions that are really influencing anything. It's not in our fucking milieu. Milieu. I don't know. I'm
Some
mispronouncing
people thought-
everything because Zoom is drunk. Woo! But, like...
I mean, it doesn't matter if he has political opinions. We're not shitting on him for his political beliefs. We're shitting on him because of drama.
Look, I'm sure...
YouTube drama.
Okay.
That is our area of expertise, and this guy is a
Kids,
cunt.
do you want to
I'd
see
rather
a
talk
big
about the
Logan
fucking golden
body
one
on
than Logan Paul, dude.
YouTube trending?
Look,
Because now we have Deadball. How the fuck... Does he still even have his account right now?
who cares? Garam, who cares? iDubbbz
Well,
is going to
right,
show...
right.
Look, in the next
Zoom.
6 months, iDubbbz is going to show up and kill his entire family.
Good.
Fuck it.
And then he's gonna fucking upload it. I would watch that video.
Like,
And then I would downvote it because consistency.
the
But
man
still,
will be slaughtered on their own terms.
Were it not for the laws of this country, I would have slaughtered you.
Laws of this country don't matter.
Yeah.
The laws of God don't matter. All that matters now is the laws of the internet.
Yeah, the
Oh my
internet...
God.
The internet doesn't have
Pretty
laws.
good iDubbbz pretending to be autistic.
Yeah. Great.
Oh god. No, but like, come on, it's dumb YouTube drama. We should talk about it.
Fine. Can we talk about, like, something... Like, we should have dovetailed... Alright, this is not exactly YouTube drama, but we should have dovetailed when we were talking about Hollywood into this, but we might as well bring it up quick and then get it back to, like, actual, like, more core YouTube stuff.
Yeah.
Zoie Quinn popping back up as a furry is gonna be fucking hysterical. But... Like, I don't know if this was before or after she popped back up, and I know everybody's gonna say, literally who, yada yada, old Gamergate memes. I don't care anymore. Sargon killed Gamergate, what's the point? Like,
No, you want to know something hilarious? You want to know something really funny?
what?
Google Zoie Quinn. And, like, you get the little sidebar with the Wikipedia article, or, like, whatever, like, her biography.
Yeah.
You know? Born 1987, United States of America. Video game. Depression Quest. Known for Depression Quest. It's like, not video games, not anything. Just singular video game. This is what she did. This is the one thing that she did that is notable. Video game. Not plural.
People also
game.
search for Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu, Leigh Alexander, Phil Fish, Chuck Tingle.
Chuck Tingle.
Fucking bounced, son. Damn.
Chuck Tingle is more prolific a creator than Zoie Quinn. He
Professor
at least
T-Rex teaches me gayness.
he has the plural form of the noun for the type of thing that he produces. Zoie Quinn does not. She has video game singular in her fucking like dumb
Fucking
Google
amazing. If you actually do a Google search for Chuck Tingle, you get the sidebar, and then all the other people you search for are like all the other people that are searched for are fucking like 2 of them are erotica artists. One of them is Steve Harwell. And then Zoie Quinn. Like, it's Zoie Quinn, an erotica artist, Steve Harwell, and then another erotica artist. And then...
Slammed by my handsome fidget spinner.
And then, like, the fucking top bar of other people are nothing but, like, Gamergate-related fuckwits and Adam Baldwin. Like, for some reason... Like, it's like Anita Sarkeesian, Brianna Wu, Leigh Alexander, Phil Fish, and it's like a hit list. Chuck Tingle, Milo Yiannopoulos, Total Biscuit, and then Adam Baldwin and Thunderfoot are just there. Then Lacey Green, then some no-name, then Anna Anthropy, then fucking Jim Sterling, and then JonTron. And it's like, what have you done? Like,
JonTron is unfairly on that list.
Well,
JonTron didn't do nothing.
Yeah, JonTron, like, fucking was there way after the fact and had an opinion. And, like, people shit on him. And, like, Adam Baldwin I still think is a great dude, but Adam Baldwin is there because he was the one, like, codified the whole thing and, like, you know, broke it into the mainstream. But,
Okay,
like,
so...
God. Whatever.
So, I'm just going to add for the hilarity of this one. So, her furry, what do you think, what animal do you think she chose for her persona?
I don't give a fuck.
A Mary Sue?
No, she chose a weasel.
Oh!
Oh, I see.
It fits so perfectly.
I was
with her.
expecting
She did
you to
that
say
on
a hyena.
purpose. Like, there's no fucking way. Oh yeah, hyena, fuck you. No, she did that on purpose.
Yeah.
There's no way that
Look,
a fucking weasel was
look.
was,
We're spending way too much
accidental
time
harm.
talking about literally who, haha memes. But like the thing with her being back in the furrydom and whatever, like we'll see how that unfolds. Maybe it'll be hilarious
The
because it's like,
furrydom, he says.
yeah,
Wait,
because
wait,
she's probably going to
back?
con. She's probably going to con like the furry community out of money or
yeah.
something.
But funny, so the tweet I was seeing that a bunch of people had furry avatars and just going, "Oh shit, no," because like yeah, they know who she is, and she's like, "Oh shit, look what she did to the gaming community." Like this person's like a bad actor, so I wouldn't be too surprised if she shows up in the furry community. A lot of those people play games. They know who Zoie Quinn is. They know to stay the fuck away from her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like, no, the best shit was like not that even she popped back up, is that she fucking popped back up for that, and then she also popped back up when Soy Boy Prime came under fire for her sexual assault allegations by her and fucking Anna Akana. So like two like literal internet whores are saying that like Max Landis is like some kind of like sexual predator. And like Max Landis is trying to like fucking like bitch boy his way out of everything.
Dear listeners, take a moment and Google image search Max Landis.
Soy Boy Prime. Soy Boy fucking Prime.
I only know him from what was it? God damn, I don't even remember what it's fucking called.
This
Chronicle?
guy looks like he could not. This man looks like he could not sexually harass himself out of a wet paper
I mean,
bag.
Chronicle was good though.
Yeah, Chronicle was decent. Here's the issue with him. He only got to write Chronicle at his age because his dad is the dude who directed Animal House.
Oh, I see.
Like, he has straight up just like he was literally born in Beverly Hills. Like, it's not even like a fucking...
Yeah, John Landis. Okay.
Yeah, like he had a YouTube...
I thought it was just an incidental, like,
Yeah,
name.
no, he was known for his YouTube channel. Like, before he started in movie shit, he was known for his YouTube channel where he, in college, got super drunk and, like, talked about comic book and, like, WWE lore and got a famous video of that everyone's seen. But the only reason why people even, like, picked that up and that became, like, streaming on YouTube in the first place was because he knew everybody. He had a bunch of, like, fucking actresses and female models in all of his stupid fucking videos acting out all the shit he was saying.
Actually, on the topic of people that know everyone and that's the only reason they succeed, do we want to talk about Ready Player One?
We might as well. Like, man, that dude's
because
a schmuck.
that book was fucking garbage.
Yo, what, you read it?
It was yes.
You read it out of pure curiosity?
I read it out of spite.
I know you and my brother were talking about it the other day, but like...
Yes. I was talking with him about it, and I was taking quotes from it. I had only read excerpts at that point. But I went out, and I found a fucking PDF of it, and I read it out of spite. And it is fucking trash.
It is fan service.
It is... No, it is not fan service. It is fan fiction. It is literally 80s video game fan fiction, where, like, it's fan fiction of the decade of the 80s. It is fucking garbage.
Yeah, every excerpt I read of it, like, the worst thing about it wasn't even, like, all the fucking wankery going on in every excerpt I read of it. It was the fact that, like, if you just took it from a technical aspect and looked at the writing style and everything, it was like fucking reading, like, it was like reading, like, Neil Stephenson during his, like, teenage years. Like, it was just fucking weird. Because it was like, it tried to be like so stylish and fucking like fast paced and everything.
No, it's fucking garbage.
And it's like...
It's just really shitty emulation with, like, presented and brought to you by someone that has no fucking idea what they're talking about, and they think geek culture actually matters and is a real thing rather than a corporate fabrication they use to sell shit. Like, someone that self-identifies as a geek because they think it's hip, and then tries to like force that whole shit onto everyone. You know who really helped to actually like force the meme that the book was good hard enough that it got, it got an actual film made out of it and just completely shilled for it, and it was friends with the author?
Yeah.
Harry Knowles.
Fuck it.
He's the guy who... Okay, for those who don't know, Ain't It Cool News used to be kind of a big deal. And it's still sort of a big deal. It was making close to $1 million a year back in the early 2000s, and this was when the internet was still small before Eternal Summer happened. But Harry Knowles is part of that whole fake geek culture. Like, not just fake geek girl, no, he's a fake geek man. He's a big fat ginger man, and he has a character who's basically the author of Ready Player One, inserting him into the game, into the book, more or less. He just based characters off of the people he was having him who were nepotizing him, and they shilled really hard for this book. Just because the writer just had tons and tons of connections, I can just imagine him posting parts of it to them over IRC or Discord or whatever, and being like, "Hey, can you guys help me sell this?" And sure, we'll collectively publish a bunch of articles about how it's really cool, and then everyone else will see that and be like, "Oh, I better publish articles about this book I haven't read and act like I've read it and it's really good because I don't want to be left behind." And classic meme engineering. And then everyone's talking about how cool and good it is, and it gets sold as a fucking movie by these this same clique of people where they're just all knowing each other and conspiring to, I know conspiring is a bad word. It's a 4-letter word nowadays, but actually conspiring and working together to make sure this thing got shilled as hard as possible to the point that it became a fucking movie made out of this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Well, they spent it'll do well because they spent a fortune on getting licensing.
No, it's still fucking trash. It's not going to do well.
I think it's. I think it's upsetting. No. It's symptomatic of how
it's not going to do
well. Here's the thing: the new movie, even regardless of how the movie does, it's the
whole Gamergate thing when it was all these journos are conspiring to push a narrative behind closed doors. This is representative of that, where it's not only just a narrative, but they're also shilling for each other for personal profit, just not even getting paid off by EA and whatever, but just any randos they happen to know, they'll just shill for because they have absolutely no fucking morals.
Yeah.
They have no integrity, they'll just do whatever if they know you.
I don't know. I think it's symptomatic that the movie is probably going to be one of those sleeper duds where, as opposed to a sleeper hit, where it's going to do well on opening day and then immediately everybody's going to trash it, just because when people are more excited about the fact that Tracer has Tracer from fucking Over Meme has a goddamn cameo in your trailer than anything else in your trailer, you might have fucked up.
They will try and meme their way into a big box office.
Well, that's all the criticism has been for a while now. I mean, all right, so my brother and I have had debates on this, and my brother and I have also both brought it up to Swade before. A good example of how fucking badly shit has been socially engineered in Hollywood as far as movie reviews and movie sales and everything is the entire career of Zack Snyder, where the man has never really made a technically bad film, but everybody acts like he has made some of the worst films ever made ever. And maybe you hate Man of Steel for reasons that I don't think are justified, but it's your opinion, whatever. Maybe you hate Batman vs Superman, maybe you hate Sucker Punch, maybe you fucking hate 300. But the fact is like, this is a guy that, like, made these movies that, like, it's like some of his most honest, as far as I've seen, detractors have said these are just mediocre. And it's upsetting that these are mediocre as they are. Have gotten worse ratings than, like, fucking, like, shit like The Room. It doesn't make any sense unless you consider that, like, you know, somebody's paying for reviews somewhere. Somebody is paying somebody on Twitter to, like, plant the idea that these movies are bad based on shit that doesn't happen. And that's kind of what happened, like, to bring it back with Max Landis, that's kind of what happened to him. Like, even though, like, Max Landis is a scumfuck, like, and I don't really have an opinion on whether or not he did do any sexual assault, just because, like, not only does he seem harmless, but, like, the people that are calling him out for sexual assault are functionally, it's Zoie Quinn and fucking Anna Akana, and then a bunch of anonymous people on Twitter. Like, this happened to his movie. And I don't know if this was because it happened, like, the reason, like, so he wrote Bright. And, Bright just came out on Netflix. It's like their second big blockbuster after War Machine, essentially. And War Machine was functionally a flop. And Bright was, I don't know if it's, like, really a failure exactly, because it's hard to judge that with Netflix. But, like, critically speaking, it got shit on. Like, in ways that don't make any fucking sense. Like, there were professional critics on Rotten Tomatoes that have had, like, decent records throughout the years saying that it was, like, the worst movie of the year in, like, 2017. And it's like, no, it's just kind of okay. And it's like, there's obviously a lot of social engineering going on.
Yeah,
like,
it's all of these people know each other. They know each other. Like, it doesn't have to be necessarily they're all in the same group. It's, you know, like, steps from Kevin Bacon. You know, they all know each other, only maybe 1 or 2 steps removed at most.
Or at the very least, all the different organizations they work for have relationships.
No, it's not even, or it's not organizational. It is person to person. They are working to do this, because organizations are just collectives of individuals. It's not organizational. There's no mission statement that goes out saying we're going to shill for this, like, officially. It's just a bunch of guys in a room deciding together, hey, yeah, we're just going to shill for this.
Companies do have culture.
No, they do have culture, but that's a product of the individual. The companies themselves only have what's written on the paper that they have. Otherwise, it's just a product of the people who work for those companies and not the companies themselves. And that's kind of like a strange distinction to make, but that's really what I think about it.
I think we're arguing against individual choice versus the subconscious.
No, it's not even subconscious, because, like, the corporate culture can affect it and make you make similar choices, but that's still a product of a clique of people conspiring together, directly or indirectly, to push certain narratives just because the people that are most vocal or most charismatic or have the most social currency in their group decides that, yeah, we just want to do this. You know, SJW shit, yeah, go for it. We're going to nepotism and shill our way to victory because we have absolutely no principles, and the ends will always justify the means for us.
I agree with Swade. Like, Garam, like, we've talked about this before with your personal examples of how your previous companies have worked and how they treated engineers and everything. And look, maybe my personal experience isn't really considerable to you, but if you give it any credence at all, I would like to just say, like, I believe that Swade is right on the grounds that, like, I'm pretty sure that most companies are most corporations are only as competent as their HR department. Unless they have, like, geniuses that are actually doing the footwork and the R&D.
You get the wrong people into the company, and you get, like, the wrong dude in a key managerial position. That's it.
Yeah, and the people who,
like, catching a disease,
and people who fucking are the doctors in this metaphor that are responsible for that disease, that are responsible for curing that disease, are the HR department. And if the HR department, like it almost always does, devolves into a clique of political baiting,
or if the doctors get sick first because people go to the HR department knowing that they have the power over who gets what.
Yeah, because most of
Or
them
they
are...
get to decide that it's everyone else that's sick instead of themselves.
Yeah, like, usually HR departments are, like, cliques of fucking feminist harpies. And just in general, like, incompetent fucks that make everything the company does a political move because they either already have that agenda or they don't have enough to do in the day, so they justify all their payroll hours by, like, making up like starting fucking shit politically.
I keep on finding it's usually the second one of those two. Bunch of useless people who don't have anything to do, so they just
Coach Red Pill. It's a series of Coach Red Pills.
Yeah.
Pretending that they know how to hire people when, like, they're doing character evaluations by calling people useless, fat, cuckolded bitches. Whatever. Have either of you seen Bright?
No, but yeah, it's definitely on Netflix, and
If you have Netflix, you might as well watch it. It's not going to cost you anything but time.
No, my first reaction was Will Smith. Ooh.
Well, that's actually
the last couple.
Here, all right, I'll say this, and I know we really shouldn't talk about it, but, like, I will say this: the movie has a lot of faults, both, like, internally and externally. But one of the best things about it is actually Will Smith in it, because the way listen, it's not Will Smith. It's not even, like, anything he does. It's the fact that the rest of the movie around Will Smith is one of the only movies I've seen in the last 10 years that doesn't treat him like Will Smith. Where, like, I actually really enjoyed it, at least for the first half, entirely because the plot of like what, like, the starting plot of, like, what actually gets the rest of the movie going is Will Smith is Will Smith in the Los Angeles Police Department, and everybody else in the police department hates his guts because Will Smith is an asshole. Like, that just sold it for me. Like, the entire premise of the movie is like Los Angeles Police Department gets the first orc cop ever in this, like, you know, in this urban fantasy setting that is totally not ripped off from Shadowrun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
even though it's like it actually has less to do with Shadowrun and more to do with fucking Lord of the Rings because Max Landis is a hack. But
yep. There will never be an actually cool Shadowrun movie, Zoom. Don't get your hopes up.
Well, it doesn't matter to me. But, like, what I'm saying is, like, essentially, like, the premise is like, this is urban fantasy, there's orcs, there's elves, there's shenanigans, whatever. First orc cop ever joins the Los Angeles Police Department, and Will Smith's character is his partner entirely because he's so Will Smith that everybody else in his entire precinct hates him. Like, everybody else in his entire precinct thinks he's a fucking douchebag, so they just let him have the new cop that is, like, a fucking political fire magnet.
Yeah.
And, like
you can imagine him having, like, Die Hard, like the whole Die Hard series happening, like except magic in the prelude up to this.
Yeah, like it's so funny because well, actually it's a lot more. It's directed by David Ayer, so the similarities aren't like it's not like, you know, this is a ripoff. It's really, really close to Training Day. It's really close to Training Day. And, like, honestly, like, that's just the best part, was just the whole, like, you know, Will Smith is Will Smith, but nobody likes him because he's Will Smith. Like, as opposed to every other Will Smith movie where it's like, I'm gonna say something funny and, supposedly funny and charming here. I'm gonna just I'm just gonna charisma my way out of the situation. I'm such a badass. Like, I always have, like, a witty quip. And instead of, like, the audience laughing or, like, any of the other characters laughing or any of that, it's just all these other cops being like, you're a fucking dick.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. Like,
yeah.
Like, that was what sold it for me. And, like, the acting is honestly not that bad. I like David Ayer as a director. And, like, unlike the last movie he directed, fucking Suicide Squad, this wasn't utterly, like, fucking ass-raped by the studio. Like, it wasn't an editing nightmare. It actually flowed pretty well. It's just, I don't know, it's not that great of a movie for a number of other reasons. But, the thing is that, like, it's not a piece of shit either, and people were acting like it's like one of the worst movies ever. And it's just like, you know, I think that they're just too high on their horse, like in Hollywood and the critic community and everything, because there's so many of these guys that are obviously paid off, and there's so many of these guys that are obviously, you know, like they're hobnob, and there's so many of these guys that are obviously influenced by like the tides of social media, so to speak, that like they think they can get away with shit like this because, you know, like a good example of this, and this is hugely arguable, but like it's not really a topic that this channel really discusses, so I doubt like one of our 2 subscribers is gonna like start a serious fight with us about it.
Hold on, you said we have 15 and 10 of them are you. That leaves me and Garon. We have 3.
Okay.
3 subscribers, Zoom.
Okay,
somebody else
get it right.
Randomly might accidentally.
We have 3 real people watching this.
I have more, like, I get more alerts of people unsubscribing than I do get subscribing. All right.
I don't know how that works.
It just happens. But
okay.
It just happens. Like people who didn't even like subscribe to the channel unsubscribe from it because, you know, whatever. Like just. Whatever. My point is that like
YouTube auto-subscribes them out of pity.
A phenomenon like a setting where you can accurately, like, at least in my opinion, like accurately look at the phenomenon of, you know, like the social warfare going on surrounding these movies and everything is probably fuck, I'm stupid. Is the DC movies. Because the DC movies, like, you know, even if you take out the like the critics who have a bias or don't have a bias or might know people, Disney has far too much money to, like, you know, brook a competitor.
Yeah.
Like, it's way like, this is something that it shouldn't be arguable. Because it's like, it's way too fucking easy for Disney to just pay off even like one guy to like
yeah, they only need a few people to get the ball rolling, and then it just becomes a meme.
Yeah, to make it a meme that like all the DC movies suck and like all of their, because like you like I mean, know to be
fair, a lot of them do suck, but not all of them.
Yeah, because fucking Wonder Woman
was great.
Wonder Woman was kind of overrated, but I think Wonder Woman
I thought it was really good. Okay.
I think it survived entirely because it was feminist.
I thought it was really good comparatively to like a lot of the really shitty like Marvel shit that's coming out.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah, it's really better than a lot of the Marvel shit.
The dumb, like, just Whedon, like the dumb Whedon garbage that Marvel has become.
Yeah.
Like,
and
it tried to do something different, and it actually kind of did. So, you know.
Yeah. And, like, I like that Suicide Squad was like, Suicide Squad and both Suicide Squad and
Batman vs Superman.
Well, yeah, were edited to shit by the studio against the will of the director and, like, fucked with.
Yeah, the director's cut of Batman vs Superman. Zoom and I have both watched it. I think your brother watched as well.
Yeah, he really loves it.
Yeah, it's really good. I have to agree. I have to agree with Zoom there. It's really good, and you know, Zoom. I think you probably thought it was really great as well.
I liked it. I mean, not as much as him, but like I wasn't as into it as he was, honestly. But like at the same time, like I see why he liked it. And the thing is like he kind of won me over on this in many conversations that we've had. Is that like I didn't really like have much of an opinion one way or another on Man of Steel. He really loved Man of Steel. And he saw the reaction that Man of Steel had, and like he convinced me that like something was going on, because so many of the people bitching about Man of Steel, and this like was the start of darkness for all of this, really. Like so many people bitching about Man of Steel were saying shit and getting applauded for calling it out for the shit that they just said. And like the shit that they had just said, that they were like, all this shit they were saying was stuff that had nothing to do with the movie. That was like they had just made up. like they were talking about stuff like one of the things I can think of off the top of my head was they were saying like there were too many messianic metaphors involved with a Superman movie, and it's like, are you fucking serious?
Like, that's the whole fucking.
It's like, excuse me, and like,
excuse me.
And like, it's just every time, and it was so disingenuous because every time you find somebody who would hold those opinions and you would challenge them on like YouTube comments or any other public space like a Discord server or whatever and argue them down, it always came down to, well, all of my criticisms of the structurality of the movie and the acting and everything, like, all of that is stuff that I can't objectively prove, so we'll agree to disagree, but I'm just not the target audience for this movie, and I really should be, so fuck you. And like, it came down, like that's how you know that this shit was fucked, and it was all just memes.
Do you remember the DC movie with, Superman movie, Superman Returns?
Yes.
Where his fucking son has Down syndrome because, like, alien DNA and human DNA just don't fucking mix, and that would actually cause, like, horrible, like, problems for the child? It got the same fucking reviews, where people were just like, no, it's too many messianic metaphors, too much of that shit going on. It's literally just word for word the same criticisms between that and then Man of Steel. But they practically just like copy pasted the articles and then changed around the sentences a little bit.
Yeah, and then like the thing was that like aside from a few things, what was even worse
they're
was
following a playbook, is what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
it's very
but like
the
worst thing about that was that they were following a playbook. Then they called attention to the playbook and then said, "We're not following a playbook. You're just dumb."
Yeah,
because like one of the biggest
Superman
fucking
is problematic.
One of the most bullshit criticisms I had seen.
Bad.
Yeah, like one of the most bullshit criticisms I had seen where people were saying that like the Superman Returns movie was better than Man of Steel. And there was there was a ton of people that were like Superman Returns is this unappreciative gem, and I just never realized it until I saw Man of Steel.
The reason they say that, and they go by the Disney playbook saying that, is they know that if they can pretend that that's a thing, they can seem like they just care about they just care about the character of Superman, but also Disney doesn't stand to lose anything from them saying that, because no one's going to make any money off of Superman Returns suddenly becoming better known and popular. They lose nothing by shilling for a movie that their rivals previously made, but no longer will make them any money, and they can pretend to be unbiased.
Yeah, and they can pretend that they actually know what they're talking about. When it's like the majority of it's like, what if you're gonna say that and then in the same breath say like too many messianic metaphors and everything?
No, fuck
it's
you.
It's like, no, this is obvious that you don't actually read Superman. You don't know anything about Superman other than that he's a cultural icon, and you maybe watch like the Richard Donner Superman, and it's like. Whatever, this is a whole other debate to have, and this is something that my brother would say better about it. But as far as the rest of everything goes, Garam, do you want to have the floor for some of this? I've taken up way too much time.
Other just when fucking Hollywood's eating itself alive right now. All of this bullshit is just. Go back to what we were talking about with Iceland. We already have a model for where this bullshit ends. Look at Hollywood right now. They don't...
Oh, you guys, wait. I just realized something that's not on our topic list. Did you guys hear about the NCR?
Are we
my
talking
God.
about how they might actually start arresting
It's happening.
How they might actually start arresting the government officials in the sanctuary cities for violating...
No, that's wrong,
law?
Garam. New California declares independence from rest of state. 18 hours ago.
Holy shit.
I thought you guys heard about that. We were going to get around to it, but I didn't. I looked in the topic list and it wasn't in there.
Oh my God, I have not heard about this.
Joke?
You didn't hear about that?
No. I saw people posting like the new California flag from fucking New Vegas. I didn't.
Oh my God! It doesn't
God.
include Redding.
Sacramento. It won't let me zoom in on this picture.
Well, so it's basically they've just carved up all the Democrat sections and said you can keep them.
No. Hold on, Garam. That's technically incorrect because it wasn't based on political lines explicitly, but rather rural counties and not big fuck-off cities wanted out of the big fuck-off city favoring state government. And so they are now seceding. They are declaring that they are trying to succeed. All the county leaders for all these counties are saying, we're out of here. We don't want to be part of California anymore. We want to be our own thing.
Oh my god, this is going to be incredible.
You guys didn't hear about this?
I have not heard. This is going to be
thought this
fucking
was just a
amazing.
fucking joke.
No, it is not a joke. It is happening.
The 51st state, I hope this actually goes through. The 51st state will be New California as opposed to, it's going to be New California as opposed to Old California. And, oh my god, is the capital going to be Fresno?
I hope so.
Fucking tell me the capital's going to be Fresno.
I hope
fucking Fresno!
If they make this serious and turn it into a Fallout meme, I will
Oh
be.
my! They take the NCR flag just cuz.
Yeah, no, it's because it's New California, so it needs two bear heads.
Yeah, just do it, New California.
2.
Come on, guys!
It is the California Republic and the New California Republic.
Fallout New Vegas was the best propaganda piece for your fucking state you could ever want.
Official state video game, Fallout New Vegas.
Come on, you know you want to do it.
Everything except for Lonesome Road, of course. All the DLC except for that one.
I mean, Lonesome Road wasn't that bad.
It wasn't worth it though. It wasn't worth the effort you have to go through.
The payoff after all the previous DLC was not.
Yeah,
what it should have been. But
Dead Money was the best.
It wasn't a fucking It wasn't like fucking Mothership Zeta or anything.
It wasn't Mothership Zeta.
Come on, Big Mountain.
Yeah,
Big Mountain was good.
Yeah, Old World Blues was
on
incredible.
On parts, I liked the story. I liked the story they were going for, even if just the game.
Okay,
the DLC itself wasn't that good.
You always do this. We're such stupid fucking nerds. All right, Garam.
Okay.
Old World Blues was incredible, but Dead Money was like the fucking forgotten gem.
Yeah,
Dead Money was like the Shivering Isles of Fallout.
It really was.
Money, but I just enjoyed Old World Blues more.
Old World Blues was dumb, like silly fun, right?
I know.
They made Dr. Venture be the voice of one of the fucking scientists,
which was fucking great. But Dead Money was, I think, a better RPG.
Yeah.
Standing on their own, if they had to stand on their own. Dead Money is a better RPG.
Yeah.
Dead Money has a better story to tell. Dead Money has... I know, the environments and everything else are much more restrictive, and it's kind of fucking gay all the time with the cloud and everything else.
Fucking ammo.
Yeah, but it is a better RPG.
Yeah.
Just because of the characters and the story...
And all the interactability with that environment.
Yeah, all the interactability, and also just, the theme, the tone. Just, the story they're trying to tell.
Dead Money is like the BioShock 2 of Fallout. It's that one property that nobody talks about, that the mainstream hates.
Or it's kind of like the Minerva's Den.
Yeah.
The Minerva's Den to, New Vegas's Fallout 2.
Yeah, or New Vegas's BioShock 2.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, because let's be honest here. BioShock 2 had its problems, but BioShock 2 was head and shoulders a better BioShock game than 1 or Infinite, and everybody shit
just
on
like
it.
New Vegas.
Yeah, and this kind of ties back in. Everybody shit on it
Infinite
because
is the Fallout 4 of the BioShock games.
Yeah,
it's
everybody
trash.
shit on BioShock 2. Calling it a cash-in and all this other, blatantly untrue shit.
Yeah.
Entirely because Ken Levine knew people in the industry and was mad that a bunch of fucking, B writers in a studio that was we need a sequel, and were essentially told to make a cash-in, made a better fucking game with what they had than he did
with his own fucking, like,
and
ideas.
So he fucking, like, got all of his buddies in the industry to shit all over it.
Yes,
it was
again, nepotism and favor exchange.
God. And then Fallout New Vegas nearly had the same thing happen to it because Bethesda's mad that they fucking suck.
Yep. Exactly the same thing every single time. Maybe you're starting to see a pattern here. Yeah. And then, of course, Fallout 4, just like Bioshock Infinite, undeservedly praised because it was a bigger budget thing, and they had, like, they were willing to pay money for shills.
Yep. When it was
really
because it was no longer
don't actually want to play good RPGs. They hate good RPGs. Oh, look at that! The game mechanics, the actual
because it was hip and cool, and parts of it appealed to like Tumblrettes and so on.
All the game journalists really wanted to fucking do is shoot a bunch of fucking feral girls in the face.
They don't even want to do that. They want a QuickTime event to let them shoot them in the face,
which they've got. In the most QuickTime sense that ever QuickTimed with VATS. I mean, it's the ultimate.
Nah, come on, like VATS in like.
Come on, QuickTimes is supposed to make shit easy. Like, come on.
Like VATS in like 3 and New Vegas.
QuickTime was supposed to make things
actually better.
QuickTime was supposed to make things cool and cinematic in a sense that like wasn't actually like captured by like the game's normal game mechanics.
The implementation of it.
Yeah, like the original QuickTime shit where it was done well was God of War, and the entire reason why it was in God of War was because like the game mechanics were already great and finished, but they couldn't fucking implement a way for you to fucking rip like monsters in half without it being like its own thing.
Like,
God of War was like one of my first
Mercenaries and like Just Cause. Like, nah. So many of these guys were just like, fuck.
No, God of War was one of my first PlayStation 2 games, and it was fucking amazing.
Yeah, God of War was incredible when it came out, and like...
Yeah, I remember playing that shit during Christmas.
I'm amazed, like, even though, like, God of War 3...
My fucking grandparents were there, like, what the hell is this? You're ripping people in half.
God of
War... shouldn't be playing this, you're like 10 years
Is there
old.
a mini-game? There's a mini-game where you get rewarded for fucking these women? What the hell are you doing, son? Like...
Yeah, it's like, no, it's Greek mythology there. Like, shut the fuck up, you can't play this.
Fucking goddamn it! Like
they take it away because it's too violent.
God of War 3 might have, God of War 3 might have been kind of a clusterfuck by the end, as like story wise, but like it was still good to the end. Yeah, and that's something like it was like one of the last fucking modern video games that was good all the way through, as opposed to like everything else we've seen. And it's like, it's probably not even a modern video game anymore. We're like, God of War 3 came out in like what, like 2011, 2010.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's whatever. It's we were talking about California.
Yeah, seceding before that.
Yeah, all of the rural counties have decided to secede and make their own state because fuck you, like fuck you, LA, fuck you, San Francisco, and I don't know. I guess Sacramento as well. They're only having like half of it leaving behind. They want like I guess half of the trans Sacramento area for themselves for some reason. But just like this shit is just fucking crazy because people have been memeing about it for like almost a year now to the point where I'm pretty sure that either someone was deliberately trying to like force the memes very subtly to encourage it along, or all of these county leaders for some reason browse like the Donald and like, 4chan or whatever.
So many of the rural districts in California, of course.
Well, they've been pissed off about...
And they've been being sneered on.
They've been pissed off about being stuck as a blue state for a long time.
Yeah, because like it's not even just that like... Yeah, it's not even like all of these guys are like really super conservative or anything. It's the fact that they get shit on by the cities when they're feeding
by cities.
Yeah, when they're feeding the cities.
Well, they're feeding the cities. The cities are taking their water. They're just throwing roads and dumb infrastructure these cities need all over the place. Never mind, the needs of the people who actually live in the areas where these things are being like tossed. They're gearing the entire state towards supporting just like a very small part of the state, because a lot of the population lives there, sure, but there's just as much population in the rest of the state. It's just not as dense.
What are you gonna say, Gerald?
Yeah, it just but look where all the money's being generated. It's L.A. and San Francisco.
No, it's not though. Like those are really
that's the London argument. That's the fucking London argument going on with
the London argument doesn't even hold water either.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the London argument where everybody's acting like, well, all the money in Britain is in London. It's like, no, all the finance in Britain is in London. There's all of the financing and the moving of the money around takes place in LA and San Fran. Wheat and fish, food and land is worth money inherently, and it's not gonna fucking just suddenly not be worth money because there isn't some douchebag from Wall Street to tell you how much he will pay for it.
State, you know.
Dude, and who has the money to pay off the politicians? Where do you get all the politicians from?
It isn't that they have the money to pay off the politicians. It's that the politicians are based in L.A. and San Fran and Sacramento. Because those are the big cities where it's more convenient. It's more convenient for them to base their government out of a bigger city where they have more access to things.
And all the media outlets are based out of the major cities.
Yes, but it has nothing to do with economic productivity, as you seem to be implying, which maybe you were, and if that wasn't your intention, then forgive me. It has nothing to do with economic productivity so much of how easy it is to move money around between people when everyone's closer together, as in further apart. It's easier for a city to become corrupt in a lot of ways than like a wider rural area that's more distributed.
True.
Tangentially related to what I was talking about. But at this point, it's pretty obvious that the cities are just money sinks in California at this point.
Oh, hey, they're keeping San Jose, too? That's hilarious.
Yeah, well, apparently, San Jose, Santa Monica, and I think San Diego are actually, pretty decent places to live.
Oh, yeah, San Diego's pretty cool.
But, Los Angeles is a fucking shit show.
Los Angeles is a tumor.
Yeah, it really is. Remember our friend that lives near Death Valley who has, he lives in, some little town near Death Valley, still, barely inside California. And Los Angeles, because it's getting so big, is draining
the water.
It's draining the water from communities around Death Valley because, the needs of Los Angeles
to feed Los Angeles.
Yeah,
because desalination is more expensive than just stealing everyone else's water.
Yeah, fucking ridiculous.
Los Angeles would rather everyone else die of dehydration than set up a large enough desalination plant to actually feed their fucking city.
Yeah, and
I just want these guys to realize
because it would be an eyeyesore, having the obvious machinery necessary to support.
Yeah, man,
city
we need that waterfront property there to have.
Yeah, we need to preserve the fucking skyline.
We need to preserve that
smog drowned.
Yeah, we need to fucking preserve. We need to preserve that waterfront property for more empty McMansions that nobody can afford, so people just shoot porn in them.
Yeah, we need to keep those beaches that are so fucking crowded. People regularly die from being trampled in the water. We need to keep those open and looking nice.
It's the mayor from Jaws.
Fucking absolutely.
I'm gonna love it when normal California declares bankruptcy.
That will be great. I await this event with bated breath.
Glorious. Well, we honestly, we're all kind of out of energy and we probably should stop here, but this is important that we cover this, and I have no fucking segue for this. So let's just talk about Styx and the Golden One and Jim and the Liberalists and the Sargon versus Richard Spencer debate. So
Okay, Styx was the only person who made it out of that Sargon debate with Spencer.
Styx retained his dignity. I can't say the same for anyone else.
yeah, because like the worst shit about that was like Sargon was like, you know, back and forth retarded on the whole thing. That's well documented, but like Spencer's still a shill. Like
Spencer's somehow even more retarded.
yeah, like Spencer's still a fucking con man. And everybody's acting like he's legitimate, which is bullshit. And like I guess JF was like okay, but like everybody else involved was like they were obviously biased and retarded, and like everybody except like Styx and JF basically like came out of that looking like garbage, and the alt-right immediately started astroturfing, like
trying to shit all over Garam and so on.
Yeah.
Or not fucking Garam, no, Sargon.
Garam was behind this!
Garam was behind everything. No, they're trying to shit all over Sargon.
Yeah, like they immediately...
They face for their preferred candidate, so they try to make it seem like everything was Sargon rather than just everyone there apart from Styx just
That
starting
debate
out.
so badly that Styx has put out a video saying, you know what, I'm just backing away from all of this.
Yeah. You guys are fucking autistic. I don't want to be part of this.
Yeah, and like that whole thing was stupid because it's
we need
like
to
I
do
said,
like a full
it
like
was
Styx podcast or something.
yeah.
Like,
Styx is the best, guys. No, but like I mean
he does have a tendency to be right on things, and I think part of it is because
I don't know how. I honestly think that he might actually be a warlock.
I mean,
like,
should I open up about the truth here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Tell us.
I'm actually in an unofficial Styx fan chat. Okay, yeah. Laugh it up. I'm in an unofficial Styx
Do you
fan
go in
server on Discord.
Do you pretend to be Styx and go into the voice chat sometimes?
Oh, fuck you. I don't sound that much like him as much as like it's a dude.
Clink your spoons, motherfucker.
Oh yeah, fuck you. But no, it's like he makes really good content.
Yes,
and he's a funny guy. He's a bit of a meme, but he's a good dude, and he makes a lot of cool content, and I like it. But yeah, just like he was the only one there that came out looking anything close to like decent.
Yeah,
everyone else there just made a complete.
It's like I said, like it was pretty well documented, like the foibles that like the failings and foibles of Sargon there, but then like the fact that it was well documented and like the people who were documenting it, like and like I know our friend Braving Ruin included too, like it almost felt like immediately after that debate was over, the alt-right like collectively started astroturfing for Spencer. Because it's they started shitting on Styx too, being like, oh yeah, well Styx didn't say much, but he was making little giggles whenever Sargon would make one of his lame points, and then they're like talking about how like Sargon doesn't understand Locke and
Styx
anything.
Is a traitor. Did you fucking see that thing?
Yeah, that was
like fucking Scandi trash. Fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The golden one was like Styx is a traitor, like because the golden one is a fucking idiot LARPer, and everybody thinks that he
is literally a LARPer.
Yeah, like everybody, including Styx, for some reason, thinks that like, oh, he just has a great sense of humor about himself, and it's like, no, this man's a moron.
He's a fucking idiot.
This dude thinks the Horus heresy is good. Like this is the dude that's like using fucking like terminology and shit from Warhammer 40k to talk about Styx. Yeah, like he's talking about like how Styx has fallen from the light of the Imperium and he's a heretic, and it's like you fucking howling
Styx
fan
is a chaos
turd. Like
sorcerer, he'll fucking wreck you, kid.
No, like I'm serious. He might actually be a warlock just because he like manages to
be a fucking
like
wizard.
Just because of all the like the occultist shit and the fact that like no matter what happens, he is always like on top of his shit. I have no idea how he does it.
He has a ton of fucking free time because he's independently wealthy from his books. Yeah, he just fucking sells books about
Vermont's
magic
a really nice state, guys, but you know what? Fuck liberals. Like,
yeah,
I'm a libertarian. Let me put up like Roman flags in my house. Leave me alone. Like,
this is fucking like vegetable patch.
That like
this is fucking
this is a man like I hate that shit. I hate the fact of how much he's a dork, but I love the fact that he's a dork at the same time because this is a dude that fucking like predicted the entirety of the Trump election and then got such a windfall of it that he gets away with posting fucking RuneScape videos. And there's people that are there's people like fucking Varg Verkerns trying to be like, I can challenge Styx. Like, fuck you.
You cannot challenge Styx.
Just told him to basically.
He has the power. You cannot defeat him.
He understands more than you could possibly know.
I think Styx is pretty okay. His big advantage right now is he doesn't get weighed down.
I want him to open a video where he says the true power is here.
The true power is here.
No, this is where I think Sargon completely drops the fucking ball. He's so involved with this. Let me back up. My big complaint about Sargon was something he said himself. His moral compass is defined about what others think about him. He doesn't want to be embarrassed because he doesn't want to say something that's wrong because he's scared of being embarrassed.
Yeah.
Trump is media hound. Not just Trump. Sargon doesn't give a shit, I think, about so much about what he's saying. He gives a shit about what people think about it. Styx, I don't think he gives a flying fuck.
He's doing it because it's fun and he enjoys it and he thinks it's hilarious.
And he cares about what
he doesn't need the money from YouTube. He has all of his own money that, I'm assuming he invested the proceeds from his like black book series. You just had like 100 fucking books about occult stuff.
So here's my logic.
What I love is the fact that like everybody shit on him about his garden, and then he started writing a series of books about occultist horticulture. Wait a minute. This is just growing fucking like magic plants or shit. No. It's shit like this is why witch hazel is amazing.
Yeah.
So if I can continue my logic,
here's what mandrakes were like actually.
Garam, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
With Sargon, he's just a mouthpiece for the collective.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about what's actually right. He doesn't look at the facts. He just figures
He's a YouTuber in the sense that it's his career.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it because it's fun.
Well, that's the entire reason why Gamergate totally failed. He got bored of it and went with the flow of normies and turned his back on everything he actually was supposed to stand for because it was fucking easier to make money that way.
It was Sargon, but another person who I have to put blame on is, Jim,
internet aristocrat. Mr. Medicare,
whatever the fuck he wants to call himself.
He just wants to make fun of people.
He was responsible. No.
Ambition.
He says he wants to make fun of people. But if you actually pay attention, he always picks one side and then decides they're the ones he should mock and everyone else, they're fine, whatever. He is partisan no matter how much he says he isn't.
Yeah.
Specifically because if he wasn't partisan, and if he really was as above it all as people meme that he is, and as he claims to be, he would be mocking everyone involved. Not just one side or another, not just deciding, I think these guys are fucking idiots, I'm making fun of them.
He wouldn't
but not the other people.
Well, he's not WikiLeaks on Twitter, I'll put it that way.
Fuck off.
Whatever.
He wouldn't be shitting all over. Like, here's the thing about Jim. If this, Swade's right. I think Swade's right about this. It's like, if Jim really was, what everybody says he is, he wouldn't just be shitting on Sargon and being like, the Liberalists are cringe, and this is the only argument I have.
He'd be shitting on Spencer and everyone else.
Yeah. He wouldn't be hobnobbing in every fucking alt-right stream.
Yeah. He picks sides, even if he says he doesn't.
And it's just, and it's just on top of that, he's wrong a lot of the time. He's, all of his fucking stated positions on this stuff recently, especially when he got bulldogged by Louis Levi, Louis Levi is a Sargon fanboy. But everybody acting like because he's a sycophant, somehow invalidated all of his claims. It's no, Louis Levi fucking shot him straight between the eyes. Jim is a hypocrite that wanted to fucking pretend that he doesn't actually have to own up to anything. He doesn't have to take any positions. He doesn't have to fucking,
he's pretending like he's above it all, but he's not.
Yeah. And he's acting like he doesn't have an influence on internet discourse. I just make fun of people. You don't know what I am. You don't know what
choosing who you're making fun of specifically for
Sargon. I don't ever want to do a fan meetup unless it's with, this cute Asian girl.
No, he's choosing who he's making fun of due to partisan affiliations. He has an obvious, political leaning and agenda, and that colors who he makes fun of, who he mocks. He never mocks people whose opinions he otherwise agrees with because they're cringy. That never happens. It's always people that disagree with him.
And just, like, it's just the worst thing about it, it's like, this kind of ties back to all the stuff, like,
And, like, yeah, he is at least partly responsible, if not as much as Sargon, for taking the wind out of the sails of Gamergate back when that was going on.
Yeah, like, with his stupid fucking, like, I'm gonna...
Like, getting everyone's attention, becoming, like, a core part of the whole, like, all the shit going on, and then just like, nah, you know, I'm done with that, whatever. I'm gonna move on from it.
I'm gonna fuck on stream and then not be able to recover from it, so I'm just gonna say I'm done with this. Like,
yeah.
That stupid shit, the shenanigans with just, like... God, like, the worst shit was that he kept calling, like, the Liberalists, which we haven't even really touched on.
Liberalists,
like,
new fucking forced memes, right?
Yeah, like, where it's Sargon, like, the Liberalists should just explain, like, really quick. It's like, it's Sargon trying to finally take a stand on something that people have been saying that he has, like, he's the leader of this group, and he keeps saying he's not the leader. It's like, I would argue that he's... And now he's like taking...
He's always been doing that.
Yeah, he's always been doing that. He's always been in a real leadership position. He's just been, like, subtly steering things as opposed to actually, like, you know, hold, like...
I think as we went over, like, you know, almost, like, maybe even a year ago now, I don't even remember when we started this, you know, he has all the social currency, he has all the influence, and he spends it very well. He spends it to acquire more of it.
Yeah,
you know, he spends it to maintain his position. Like, he's not just like...
He's always had one hand on the wheel.
He's not benefactor of smaller channels. He gets something out of it too, and he makes sure that he does.
Like, he's not exactly like an official leader, but he's always had one hand on the wheel. And then, like, you know, everybody wants to act
and then
like...
he's denying, of course... there's no skeptic community. That's not a thing.
There's a skeptic community, but
I'm not a part of it. Oh, wait, I'm the leader of it. Well, it's a good thing, though.
Yeah, like all of this shit, all the Discord shit, like, the hypocrisy, whatever, it's always been there. But the worst thing about this was, like, for the first time, he's standing up and saying, alright, I am gonna be the leader of this. I'm gonna take over. Yeah. And then immediately the entire alt-right is like, you're fucking stupid, this is so cringe, you're so fucking gay, we need to mock the shit out of him because we're totally not terrified of him actually, like, you know, having some, like, outright open fucking, like, push for something.
Yeah.
Like, they're obviously, like, incensed, if not scared, by the idea of, like, actual counter-activism to shit that they're doing. That isn't run, that's, like, run from a place that has real arguments as opposed to just the mainstream media. That's opposed to just, like...
That's run by people that understand how they themselves argue and understand the culture that they exist in because they are at least tangentially a part of it rather than just being, like normies that never go online practically or only browse Facebook or whatever.
And just like they're like, if not terrified, they're just angered by this idea. And it's obvious because like they've been saying this forever. And then he takes charge and everybody wants to fucking mock him suddenly. And then Jim's gonna...
this, didn't we? Didn't we say this would happen?
Yes, pretty much. And like fucking not only that was like, all right, I talked about this earlier. And we just went on fucking several tangents talking about video games and Shadowrun and fucking Ready Player One and everything. It's like, we had points, but we're a bunch of nerds. Alright?
Fine.
I get it.
Back on topic.
No, let me finish. Like, this is the topic.
Alright.
Jim fucking went on that stream and was basically the avatar of all of that, like, anger, all of that fear. Or whatever it was, that basically came on and was like, this is all cringe, Sargon, I have no idea why you're doing this, this is just stupid, I think it's preposterous and ludicrous, and he had no other argument than, I think it's dumb and gay, and I'm gonna laugh at you for it, you should stop, because me laughing at you is what you should care about. And it's like
fucking Colbert making fun of you, because he knows that if you actually get traction instead of becoming a laughingstock, you're gonna fuck over like a lot of things he cares about.
Dun dun dun, motherfucker! Like, and just like that's basically us. Like that's the thing. Is like, look, I named myself after a pair of supervillains. Garam is fucking Nietzsche. You're the man with no name. We're on a fucking podcast that looks like something straight out of like a Brotherhood of Nod propaganda video. But we don't, like, that doesn't invalidate our points. It never has!
Wait, looks like...
We fucking suck, but that doesn't mean we're wrong.
Yeah, and like, that's what Jim's trying to fucking do. That's why it's fucking disingenuous and retarded since the beginning when he's gonna be like, it's cringe. Cringe is the new buzzword we can use now. Yeah. Like,
if you don't
fuck
have natural charisma and a soothing voice and like a really expensive and like presentation style with a lot of effort put into it, you're just wrong.
You're just wrong.
If you aren't a professional YouTuber, you're just wrong if you disagree with us.
If you don't know everybody in the YouTube community already. You're just wrong.
Yeah, like it's more like deflecting away from the main point to attack a straw man you can go to because you don't have any defense against the main point.
Well, it's not even the main point. It's just preventing the argument from being made in the first place by taking a straw man and then burning it and saying, this will happen to you if you fuck with us, and pretending that somehow that's supposed to frighten people.
Wow, that's kind of exactly what's happening in Hollywood right now.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening everywhere. This is what we've been saying since the beginning, really.
Yeah.
This is all social warfare. This is all people that are fucking outclassed and unequipped for actual fucking debates or battles or like fights between activists, like physical or otherwise, whatever have you, in all these situations, trying to cheat their way out of it by using charm and fucking sticking their tongue up people's buttholes. Like, this is fucked.
Yeah, and they just don't want to deal with the fact that they're not very good at arguing shit.
Yeah, no, they view other opinions and dissent as a form of warfare rather than a way by which, like, two parties can better one another. They're thinking in terms of, I'm absolutely right, and things that convince me I'm not right are attacks on me rather than things I should consider as potentially, like, evidence I'm not right.
Yeah.
There's no chance I'm not right, so anything that convinces me I'm not right is just, like, some kind of conspiracy or brainwashing or something.
Yeah, because that's actually how a lot of... Like, I've had discussions with a bunch...
That's exactly how a lot of them think. That's where the whole shill thing, where it's like, nah, you disagree with us, you're a shill, because dissenting opinions just don't exist, or else you're retarded.
That's why, like, a bunch of the different alt-right guys I talked to and some of the servers me and Garam used to be on thought that, like, you know... It's like right-leaning propaganda might have been propaganda, but it wasn't subversive because subversive requires it to be mind control. Like
subversion requires them to be leftist instead of rightist. Propaganda is only wrong when our enemies do it. When it's us doing it, it's because we're undoing propaganda.
Even if we call ourselves propagandists, so
we're propagandists, but for a just cause because we're right. It's just that the blah 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 blah. Don't fight fair. Don't try to better yourself by thinking of considering other people's opinions. Just always go with the assumption that you're right and everyone's wrong.
Kind of like we are, all the time.
No, come on. Like, we disagree on things, don't we?
No, I have never had any disagreements with either of you ever.
I disagree with that statement.
I agree with that statement.
Damn it. You got me there.
This has been the EdgeCast. We tried.
We didn't do very well, but we tried.
We are so cringe, no one will ever listen to us ever. Not even our parents. We're
Maybe
doomed forever for our cringiness.
All the way back around to being awesome.
Jim, please mock us on your channel so we can get more views.
You fucking you fucking douche canoe.
Please get us more subscribers so they can subscribe to our cringe.
Die of pancreatic cancer faster, please.
Your entire rebut to us could just be you laughing for 20 minutes hysterically.
No, it could just be you, just like in quotes, just you, and then fucking done.
Okay, goodbye. It's just a single arrow. It's not even a green text. Like, it's just a single arrow on a tweet.
God damn it. Okay, Jim, if you watch our channel for some reason, please tweet meme arrow you in fucking parentheses and let us know. That'll let us know. Okay.
Faggot.
This has been the fucking terrible podcast.
The faggot cast. The cringe cast. The cringe cast.
This has been the EdgeCast.
Yeah, and cringe cast episode 16.
Yeah. This is Suede and No. I'm not allowed to do the outro? Fuck you guys.